Yes, yes, yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that Midday Show. This in the other camera is your boy Joe, and I'm Sharif, and we're gonna wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream, and then we're gonna give a nice shout out to everyone. Hope you're okay, Darwin. I know you survived those double Boeing flights. If it's a Boeing, I ain't going, right? Flip that around a little bit, yeah? Shout out to you. Hope you're doing well, my man. Shout out to the OG Darwin, Professor Chaos. It's chaos anywhere he goes. Mr. Jonathan, the proper paradox. Tara the Dawn, okay. The beautiful Gate, Bob Dub, Andrew Chow, and my man Vic Yan Novak. And shout out to the OG Gorev. Keep your eyes out for his trades in the chat. Cass M, Oliver Costaros, Christopher Holcomb, Mary S. Lyman. We got Zorro in the chat today. He's going to be cutting up a storm. Day Trader cut as well as Daryl Finch, Edris, PC Hoon. I want to see some new names in the chat. I love it. Dewey, Asau. Who are these people? I love it. Terrence, KWNT, Ayo Lewis. What's up, my man? Razin, Syed. We got Amr, we got Breaking VWAP. I love that name. I think the Katina man probably will like that name too. Bye-bye Apple, he says. Monkey, Investor 2, New York Sense, as well as Alaric B. Shout out to you as well. Alt, Stella, whatever, man. Beautiful, Bearing Bulls, Airy Pages, and TX Trader. Good morning, Joe. How are you,
Good morning.
Man?
I'm good, brother. How was your weekend?
It was good. Always too short. Kind of like the thing you always say, but that's the look there. How was, did you do anything fun? We're talking here, guys.
Yeah. We just went out to dinner. Nothing crazy. We had the birthday shenanigans on the weekend.
Yes, I forgot about that.
That's it.
Happy belated to my man, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, so other than that, just a bunch of good food and good family.
So you're in detox mode right now?
We wouldn't go that far. We didn't get too carried away there. So we're ready to rock and roll here on the show, and we're always ready to go. So it's always fun being back here.
Beauty. Anything you want to cover before we jump in the lesson?
You know what, brother? I'm just looking over here at AMD selling pretty heavy here, and I think the rest of the market is dragging down as well. So I have my eyes on AMD. We're looking for any relative strength in this thing. So other than that, Sharif, we just want AMD to go higher, and that's about it, brother.
Sounds good, man. Are you telling me about that options contract that you bought off camera? Hope you print up multiple storms.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about some average true range, a quick little lesson today. We're not going to get too intricate with it, but we're going to talk about ATR and gauging realistic profits using ATR. So let's get right to it. Traders, ditch those one-size-fits-all approaches or targets. Today, we'll explore how to average true range can help you set realistic profit targets based on real-time market volatility. So let's get right to it, as we always do. The problem with fixed targets. It's great if you have a key area of support or resistance, but if you're basically taking a trade off momentum and you don't have an area where you can get out, you can definitely use ATR. So imagine setting up a daily profit goal of $100. Sounds good, right? But what if, number one, the market is super volatile, right, offering a chance for much bigger gains than your $100, or the market is calm, making that $100 a little bit out of sight. Fixed targets can certainly leave you frustrated in certain scenarios or tempt you, even worse, to overtrade in order to reach them, which can end up leaving you a lot more negative than you had been planning. So the ATR solution to the rescue. This is an intraday volatility meter. Average true range measures intraday volatility. Here's how to use it to set up realistic price targets. Number one, calculate your target. So instead of a fixed number, for example, use the ATR to be able to create dynamic targets that adjust to the daily volatility. And it takes into account how volatile or lack thereof the market is on the day. Here's a simple formula. For your long positions, it's going to be your entry price plus your ATR, plus the ATR, multiplied by a factor of 1 or 2. We'll get into the factor later. Short target, it's going to be your entry price minus the average true range multiplied by that multiplier or factor we'll get into a hot minute, okay? So the factor you choose is important here. The factor you choose depends on the risk tolerance and strategy that you're employing. So you shouldn't have you know, the same multiplier for a breakout trade as you should have for a range. So you need to, number one, identify what kind of trading strategy you're employing on the day, given the volatility or lack thereof, and then that should influence what kind of multiplier you use. Obviously, if you use the lower the multiplier, the closer the beak wetter is. The larger the multiplier, the farther out it is. And that should be influenced by how volatile or not volatile we are on the day. So again, just to repeat, the factors you choose depend on, or the factor, the multiplier that you choose, depends on your risk tolerance and strategy, as a higher risk factor aims for larger but less frequent profits, while a lower multiplier or factor sets smaller but more frequent gains. So let's talk about an example in action, okay? Let's just say you buy a stock, for example, at 50 bucks, all right? The ATR on that day, the average true range for stock ABC is $3. So you decide to use a factor of 1 in this case, all right? Because you're going to say take a range trade for the moderate target. So your buy would be $50 where you get in, right? Multiplied by plus 3 times 1, which is 53 bucks. This is your profit target. So you go long, you're aiming to get in at 50, and you're looking to get out at 53. Again, this is based on 1, your entry price, the average true range on the day, and the multiplier you choose to use based on your trading strategy. I hope that's very clear. Okay. Also, volatility matters, right? So imagine on another day, for example, you're want to trade the same stock A, B, C. Let's just say it's at the same price. But on this day, the ATR ain't 3, it's 1. That needs to factor into your analysis of where you're going to set up your price targets. So it should, because the math equation requires that you factor it in. So this time, it's 50 plus 1 times 1, which is 51. So your beak wetter is not going to be at 53 on this day, but rather on 51. Why is that, though? Because the average true range on the day that you used 1 is 1. It's not 3. So if the average true range is smaller, why are you setting up lofty profit targets? What's up there, Katina Man?
I just want to give you guys $1 on Apple.
The Katina Man's $1 in the money on that Apple short, by the way. So he's printing up a storm. Keep your eye out on what the Katina Man and the Neil are doing using more Trader TV. So I hope that makes sense. On the days where the average true range warrants you to get more aggressive with your price targets, you take the risk. On the day that it doesn't, you don't. It's really that simple. Thank you, Fabe. All right, let's move on. Benefits of using average true range to set your profit targets. So ATR-based targets. 1, why are they good? They set realistic expectations. You set targets based on what the market is doing that day, not what you want the market to do or what the market did on Friday. It's basically on that day. So you're looking to deliver what the market is able to give you on that specific day. I hope I said that specific day enough. Adaptability as well. Your targets adjust to the changing volatility of the market, which allows you obviously to capitalize on opportunities in different markets. When the ATR is 1, it's giving you that opportunity still to make some money, but you shouldn't be so lofty with your price targets when the market is telling you otherwise, okay? As well as risk management. ATR also helps with risk management. Since targets are based on volatility, they can help you avoid overextending yourself in that volatile market. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm not going to belabor a lot of these points, so we're going to end here. Just I want to remind you guys, ATR is a historical measure of volatility. It is by no means a guarantee. Like all technical analysis, it is fallible, and you should use it with other technical indicators to get a more complete picture. And number 2, combine ATR, obviously, again, with other analysis for confirmation before entering and exit the trade. And a little bonus tip I didn't put here, don't be afraid to adjust your targets as you gain experience. So for example, if the ATR was 3 and I didn't use the multiplier of 3 on that day because I felt a little bit more, I'm still new at this, I don't really trust it that much, my confidence in it or my conviction in it is a little lacking, use a smaller multiplier. There's nothing wrong with that. The multiplier is entirely subjective and it's up to you. Obviously, it should be based more on market conditions, but you can work your way up there as you gain more experience. So I hope that helps everybody. Quick little lesson today, and let's do some trading, baby.
Yeah, good stuff from Sharif there, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Right now, we're in some TQQs. We're looking for this market to continue to head a little bit to the downside a little bit more. So let me pull up my TQQ chart. I mean, XLC is pretty weak, so we got Meta and Google that are pretty much selling the rest of the day. We're pulling back a little bit. If we break and hold above VWAP here, then I'm going to get out of this position because this market can rebound at any second, right? So we're not going to get stuck in any form of squeeze or anything like that. So we're looking to short this overall market, and we'll take a look over here at XLC. And it's a little weak, which is totally fine because it's absolutely extended. Meta's been trading like an absolute monster over the past couple weeks. So a healthy pullback here is exactly what we're looking at, and that's what it looked like it might be. So nothing to worry about. It's overall healthy in the market. We got some big macroeconomic data coming up this week, I believe, Sharif, on Thursday and Friday. We have CPI and PPI as well. So if you see a little bit of chopping around in the market, then that's healthy, right? They're going to wait for these prints to come out, and then maybe the market and the street will decide on where we want to go from there. But if we go any higher here on the TQs, I'm not going to hold on to the position. We're going to look to get out. I had a really good question in the chat. Joe, what do I think about an M swing? Well, let's take a look. It depends which way you're swinging this trade, right? So if you're looking to go to the top side.
Remember the dude in, wasn't he trading Macy's?
Was it? Was it?
He was obsessed with it.
Was it? Yeah. And so he was doing a whole bunch of stuff when Sharif and I were at the Money Show. He was running the wheel strategy actually on this. So what he sees there, I might not see, but it doesn't matter. It's what he sees, right? So if you're looking for a swing on this, it depends which way you're going. You can see a little chop. There's no definitive direction on this stock. So maybe wait. If you can catch the bottom of the range, until then, just wait because you're mid-range. So you can go higher or lower from this point. But if you're looking to swing this stock, maybe wait for a little bit better of an entry. And that's just my 2 cents there. But yeah, other than that, it looks like we're going to have to get out of this TQQ trade. We're starting to go to the top side, which is totally fine. We like strength within the overall market. So we're going to look to see if we rebound back then. There's a little bit of low volume there, which we like. So nothing crazy. Other than that, we're just going to sit here and wait. Maybe Google rebounds and Meta rebounds a little bit. Apple sold off pretty hard. But other than that, Sharif, what you looking at, brother?
I'm in EVGO right now, Joe,
Nice.
and I'll explain why. Even though this thing's down 10%, I'm long. I'm in the money nicely here. This is the only reason. I had this as a holdover from Friday because you saw what it did Friday. It was a big boy mover.
Big boy.
So this was the closing print, Joe, that we had the other day. $8.33. This thing weaseled down right into 8.33. I punched long a little bit late, obviously at 41s because there was a bit of a spread. Wet my beak at 50s. Here's where I'm looking at getting out. I love this 70 penny area, give or take. I'd like 75. I may not get it. Why am I looking there? Well, we blew through that 10. I was initially looking to wet my beak, and I did, at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, which is depicted on my charts here as the solid green line. Wet my beak there. Then where's the next level of resistance? A bit of a vacuum, I ask myself. Well, there's this area of possible resistance, initially support on the way down at 673 to 670. I'm going to be a bit more cautious. I'm going to set the order at 669 because what's life without whimsy? And so I'll be waiting right around here for that print. Again, this is an area of price action resistance that I'm looking to reject if we work up there. There's also the possibility that it does reject the 20 exponential moving average, right? In the same way that I set my beak wetter, my profit taker, at the 10, I should be cognizant of a possible rejection at the 20. But I'm more biased right now to the 670 area, again, because it is price action resistance here, but it also happens to conflate or confluences, shout out to my man Ob, with this volume weighted average price level. So I'm very interested in this one. I'm going to continue holding it until either I get stopped out for the remaining amount or I get filled at that level. SMCI is a dang rocket ship. Joe, look at this bounce off the 10. God, I love the 10 exponential. 46.50. You're 75 pennies in the money like that if you were shadowing the 10 exponential. And this thing's been so strong. The last time the price action actually touched the 10 exponential, yes, an hour and 15 minutes ago, right at that 10 a.m., it bounced off it quick as you like. We haven't touched it. Even this bottoming tail hammer candle here didn't even touch it. So we're going to keep an eye out on SMCI. I happen to like it a little bit lower down, perhaps 45 and a quarter, where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. Joe, how's your look over there?
Yeah, we're looking good, brother. And I'm actually looking at SMCI as well here too, brother. And you know what I really like is this potential double bottom we hear on the daily. So we like that look, and a really strong up move here, up a couple percent here on the day. So that's a really good look on SMCI. It's looking pretty strong right now, and that's some really bullish activity right there that you want to see, some strength within the stock. I mean, since it split, when did it split? Yeah, not too long ago, so maybe some more hands will start to trade it. Other than that, it's a good look on SMCI. We're long some AMD here, trying to grab the bottom and see if we can break towards VWAP. This thing's a little bit weak. It did put in a 5% day on Friday. It was really big. Sean and I were talking about it on the show. So, hey, let's see if it just needs a little bit of a breather before it continues to the top side, and then hopefully it goes pretty much a little higher, right? This thing's about still 25% or so off the all-time highs, so we like that look. We were looking at it over on the weekend and looking for some longer-term plays on AMD. So we really like this stock. There's some relative strength here in the daily chart, which we really like. So anything that's strong, we're going to look to continue to join the trend on this. It's a little weak today, and that's okay. Nvidia is absolutely just carrying this market right now. The rest of the Mag 7 look relatively weak, but Nvidia up about 2.5% on the day, while AMD's down about 1%. So if this thing's going to recover, then hey, maybe it's just doing some liquidity grabs before it starts to head a little higher. I know there's a gap fill on the daily here. I'm going to pull up for you guys on AMD, and this is something that I'm looking to play. And I'm really big on these gap fill plays. And as you can see here on the daily, we've just breached the gap here, which I like. So, hey, in theory, all these gaps get filled, especially on strong stocks. So even though it looks like a small play here, there's still about a 5-point move there that I'm looking to play. And that's just something I'm looking at. So just let me know what you guys are looking at, any trade ideas and whatnot. But as of right now, it's not looking like AMD has any relative strength, and that's okay. So we'll just keep our eyes around. Our TQ's trade didn't work that well. So, hey, it's part of the game. So we're not going to sit here and worry too much about it because there'll always be another opportunity. Sharif.
This is what happens when you get that stimmy money, Joe.
Hey,
that money comes in from the government. All of a sudden, your stock is doing well. Even when you're down 12 points in the day, you can't keep down that stimmy money, baby.
You can't. Oh, my, you're buzzing. Let's go.
Look at that curl, bro. This is a beautiful
Absolutely
curl. Took it out a little bit
buzzing.
early at 65s. I was waiting for 69s.
That's what we want to see,
bro.
That's what we want to see.
Stimmy money.
Stimmy
money. Yes, that's stimmy money. In case you're wondering what we're talking about, we're just joking, guys. We don't mean to disrespect some of these stocks. EVGO is getting stimmy money, stimulus money from, I don't know which one of the multiple acts that was passed with billions and trillions in stimulus. I don't know which one this is, man. In any event, they're getting about $1 billion to expand their electric vehicle charging network. To take on the superchargers, take on ChargePoint, take on Blink charging, EVGO, another play if you're interested in that name. Anyways, they announced that they were getting up to $1 billion to help expand that. So yeah, that's the reason this is even on the side chart. Let's go into what else I'm looking at on the trusty side chart here. Couple of small cap gappers. Look, there's a few triple-digit winners today in small cap gapper world. Chief among them, SRRK. What is the deal with this one? Let me give you the information on it super quick here. It's up a light, it's not that high, 325% on the day, not a big deal. This is technically not a small cap gapper, guys. It's $2.5 billion market cap with 29 million shares traded on the day, and it's got a float of about 78.5 million shares. Let's check out the short float, if any. Shout out to Nos Boss and his crew, SRRK. We've got about, 25% of the almost 67 million shares is borrowed for short. So we got a good mover here, ladies and gents. We can definitely get this one moving parabolic. It's already moving, as we can see. So 7:30 a.m. is when this one got the pamp. It printed 750 close on Friday. Yes, we are up $32.50 at the high, and that wasn't even the pre-market high. Mind you, that was $35 that it weaseled up to. Awfully respectful, again, of the 10 exponential moving average, but as you can see here, we're doing a bit of a consolidation dance, touching the 10 far more times in a like 20-minute span than we had on the way up. So I'm awfully careful with this one, knowing that it can give back a lot. That mean reversion can be mean for those who've taken it long. Oh, I mean, I was calling you old, bro. My bad, man. So, because you know.
Hey, we looked at the MMA twins.
What's going on over there, Katina, man? SMCI, but Adara is at the big desk. She's got some stuff for us. What's going on, Adara?
We're going to take a look at some of these S&P 500 names making outsized moves to the upside and downside so far today. We're going to start here with APD. This one announcing, there's a Mantle Group announcing that they have a activist position in the stock. So that one is going to be up first here. This company is called Air Product and Chemicals, up about 7%, getting upgrades from Evercore and Jefferies here in the aftermath of this $1 billion plus stake in the company from activist investors, Mantle Ridge. Next up, we have a couple hurricane-related plays to be aware of here. We have CB, Chubb, and a lot of these other insurance names trading lower. There's some potential speculation here for what I'm seeing that insurance names are certainly something to watch out for. They could get hit as we have Hurricane Helene, and now apparently Hurricane Milton set to hit Florida. So some of these insurance names could potentially be impacted if we see some claims in the aftermath of this hurricane. Next up, we actually have one name trading higher after Hurricane Helene. That's going to be Generac Holdings, GNRC. This one up about 6%. They do manufacture generators and power equipment, so they're actually trading higher amidst the hurricane action. And again, Hurricane Helene here. We also have Hurricane Milton apparently on watch as well. If you guys are looking at these tickers or any other tickers, let us know in the chat so that you can see them potentially featured on that 2 p.m. segment here brought by you guys. The 5 top tickers, just go in the chat and vote, ! Join, space, $, and the ticker of your choice.
Thank you very much for that, Adara, dropping hot lines at the big screen.
Yes,
So
as always. We're still here on AMD, so we took a second stab here on AMD. We didn't get the best second entry that we were looking for, and that's okay. So if this thing's gonna start to rebound, it's gonna move. So we're not sitting too bad here, not the horrible entry. But as you can see, as I punched out here, I wanted to get in a little bit easier, but I didn't want to get in and get out within the same minute, right? Because I didn't want to make it seem too impulsive or anything like that. So we just packed our patience, right? Held our horses and waited on that one there. So we'll see if we can get some volume to step in here, and if we can get AMD to move a little bit higher, that would be absolutely fantastic. We'll take a look over here at TQQs as well here, because I did take a stab on that one. And we'll see what the overall market's doing, because it's kind of chopping around a little bit, hasn't really moved too much. And then with that, we'll take a look at the sector ETFs too to see what everybody's up to, because I know XLC and XLF, they're a little bit weak today, and XLE as well too. So it's always good to keep an eye out on the sectors and see what they're up to, and that can also help depict which way the market may decide it wants to move. So we had someone in the chat, Hamster Joe, we sold some DKNG puts. All right, so hopefully you got the bottom on those DKNG puts. Sold them. So essentially you're long, and hey, you know what, it could rebound. The online sports gambling is absolutely going to start blowing up. I know more people are, more states are going to start legalizing it and stuff like that. So hey, yeah, you're looking for a long-term play. It's still a little bit off the highs there, which is totally fine. But yeah, hopefully you bought those you sold those puts, and you don't get stopped out and let those expire worthless. So that would be really nice there. So yeah, as we start to grind a little bit higher here on the overall markets, SPY is still chopping around a little bit. So let's take a look at some of these sector ETFs. We're going to go to XLE, which is still strong on the day and has been strong for the past week or so, which is always good to see. XLF is doing all right. But other than that, we'll take a stab and we'll come back here and we'll look at some more sector ETFs. But we are off to Adara for now.
Great look here for Sober Safe, just coming off its highest volume candle by far here of the day. We've already had a halt for SOBR up over 100%. I'm not seeing any news on this. We're getting quite a bit of social media interest. It's also worth noting here, very small float. 260,000 shares from what I'm seeing on a total market cap of $1.55 million. So smaller market cap, but even smaller float for SOBR.
Words out of my mouth. Adara was just putting that on the side chart. Saw you guys yelling up a storm about it in the chat. There it is. Topping tail. Ugly, ugly. Let's load this up. Why isn't it updating on my thing? I have no idea. We're going to have to update this SOBR. My platform is not sober right now for whatever reason. There we go. 8790. Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, it was at my birthday party on the weekend. So,
Bro, I tried to set you up with that. You're like,
yeah,
no,
so SOBR was at the party, and it was not. So that's it.
I love it, bro. No, but it's a good look right now. The guys, this was running on Friday. I mean, this had its move, Fabian. It was moving big boy, but we broke that 750 double top, albeit on the 5, right there by weaseling up into 790. Now we're knocking the door of 8. Let's find out if somebody opens that door. But before we do that, we're going to do some daily chart analysis over here. If this thing will load, it's really taking its time today, so we're going to have to be patient with that one. But while we wait for SOBR to get to sober up, we're going to have a look here at EVGO because it's coming right back into that 670 area. So the reason I wanted to get out at 670 was an area of resistance over here. So if it rejects there, I will flip short. And thank you, Katina Man, for letting me know that this bad boy is a free for shorts type situation at Real Trading. If you're trading on the Real Trading network, this is a free look for you to get some shorts. Now, SOBR is loaded up over here. So this has been a symphony of lower highs and lower lows. But what can we glean from this daily chart other than the fact that it seems to sell off every time and make lower lows? Well, it's a former runner. Look at these candles over here back in May. This can definitely go. It's proved itself in the past to be able to go, and likely up nicely today, probably going to go again. So here's the look. It's up over 100% as I see it right now. We definitely have resistance at the 50. On the days where it gets a nice big move, most of them, I would say most of them will reject at the 50. You do have this group, though, back in May that did, generally come into that 20 and then reject. So I'm going to be very patient with this one. Don't need to be first to the party, knowing that this one absolutely can get parabolic. May 28th, May 30th, and June 4th were monster days where this printed, I don't know, like 50 times RVOL. Relative volume is what RVOL stands for. But I'm going to be all eyes about that 50 because look how many rejections we've had at the 50 over the past few months. So very interesting area. SOBR definitely on watch here. Donald John Trump is also in play. It just got an amazing dip trade at 18. Look at this IB high implied. Well, it's not even technically the IB high, but this was the opening move right at 930. Comes into 18, sells off, then we print 1968. But look at that drop right back into 18. And then you weaseled up above 19. So DJT certainly in play today. Elon was there. He was jumping. I didn't know bodies could move in that way. Yeah. But, he seemed to be happy.
He was like trying to jump over the glass or something. That was funny. Yeah. But he's like jumping his head over the glass. I'm like, what are you trying to do there, Elon? I don't know.
He's next level guy.
Hey, man, when you're the richest man on the planet, you can do whatever you like, and he wants to jump over the protective glass, absolutely. So, guys, we're in here on AMD. It's starting to work out, and that's exactly why you take those second entries. Nvidia is absolutely soaring to the top side with that dragging up these semiconductors, right? We absolutely love that. So as you can see, we punched out. Even though we punched out at the bottom, we just stick to the same thesis, and we're back in the trade, right? And if it was going to work out, this is exactly what we were expecting. So I want to just point something out here on the daily with Nvidia. And hey, it broke this pivot high, so we can potentially go a little bit higher here, which is absolutely awesome, and we like that, right? So when Nvidia is strong, the rest of the market is overall strong because this thing is just an absolute monster. It does what it wants to do. Jensen does what he wants to do, and with that, the stock absolutely just soars, right? So it doesn't take much for this thing to get going. We have a lot of hot economic data coming out this week too, so just be aware of that. I don't know if you guys have any potential positions open, especially options positions, so just be careful of the volatility onslaught, right? So because we know with credit spreads and stuff like that, unless you're really out of the money on these and have collected a lot of your premium, just close those positions on any type of credit spread form, and just don't even put yourself to any subject of those volatility onslaughts coming in with the CPI and the PPI data that we have on Thursday and Friday. So that's awesome. It's looking like we're going to take a little bit off the top here on AMD, which is something we totally want to do here. I'm not going to take off much, just maybe about 10%, because I think if we break these pivots, then we can absolutely go higher here. Yeah, positions. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to get that sorted out. My positions aren't working right now, but as you guys can see here, we're in AMD and it's working. So maybe we'll continue to hold this. If we break this pivot high right here, then that's beautiful. We'll be sitting pretty in Suntan City with a lot of our position left here. And we're going to hold it. If we come back to break even, then that's fine. That's totally fine. But we want to leave a little bit of a runner just because of the relative strength in this stock. And it's been lagging its peers too, right? So anytime you have this company, and I think they signed a deal with Sony, so they're going to be taking over the chips in the PS6, I believe.
I heard.
Yeah. So in PS6, who lost that? Intel, I think, or somebody.
Hold on, isn't it the PS5 Pro?
Maybe the Pro, but I heard, the Pro. So I heard it was 6. Yeah, so I think Intel lost the deal. Just add some more, pour some salt in the wound for that company with that one, and AMD's taking over there. So we're going to hold on to this position, and we're going to continue to go as now Nvidia's up 3% on the day, and it's absolutely dragging the market. I think the Katina man's in Nvidia. He's not in Nvidia, so that's all right. But yeah, we're just going to continue holding this position, and we're going to continue to go with the flow, Sharif.
Yeah, I'm looking at Nvidia, man. It is a dang rocket ship right now. I mean, 130 squeeze, question mark. I mean, it seems like it's a done deal. Well, obviously not, but, you know, it feels like it's going to hit 130 today, if not more. Now, you know, I'm completely averse to punching in at highs. I need a retracement. Let's have a look at the 5, see what the situation is. I like this 128 retracement or thereabouts for, you know, a 10 exponential hold. I mean, it's been very respectful of the 10. Obviously, at the highs here, it's just not my game to punch in at that level. So I'll look for a dip trade. Now, I may not get the 10. You know, you didn't get the 10 on any of these candles, but you got the 10 on these ones over here. So it is plausible to be able to get the 10. I don't think a retracement into the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 is beyond the realm of possibility. So I'll keep an eye on that. Google, kind of the other way. The exact opposite right now for Google. Looking to flat bottom break, in my humble opinion, around that 165 3/4, 165 4/5. We'll have to wait and see. Comes right back into this level over here, 165.80s. Pops back up, tries to go green above 167. That's as good as we're going to do right now. Right back down, sub 166. So this could be a long. I mean, I'm not saying flat bottom break. This could be a support level in, you know, the high 165s. Reason that we did find support at it, that level originally. You're not going to catch me trying to punch in lows, though. I'm going to need basically to wait for it to curl, as Neil likes to say, getting it on the back end, so to speak. So that'll be my look there for Google. Google has been an interesting name on the day. But I want to let you guys know that oil is up again. Hey. Yeah, anybody who went to the gas station this weekend already knows that. In Canada, we already get rinsed by definition in the taxation system. Now we're just, you know, getting rinsed more by the refineries, by the oil companies. It's one full rinse game in this country when it comes to oil. But if you want to stop complaining about it and you want to make some money on it, I like being the dual. Like, look at all these. Yeah. There's so many like little squares there. Yeah, if you really want to stop complaining about how much you're getting rinsed on gas, you can invest in one of these companies. Ram. INDO is the company I'm talking about here, up at 5 1/3 right now. 5 1/3. So we'll continue to see if this one can work its way up a little bit more. Let's go into that 15 and see where this one held up last time. Well, there you go. This one just won't drop lows. Obviously, we're kind of whiffling and waffling, and then we have the belligerencies in the Middle East pull up the price of oil. We don't give back the move, though. That's the thing. Look how consolidated we are. Then we get more belligerencies. Hey! So we consolidate some more, then more belligerencies. Nice! And then up into that 5 1/4 area we go. So INDO certainly in play today. I'll be looking to take it off a moving average.
Hey, yeah, beautiful stuff. Yeah, Sharif, loving it there. Hey, we're doing exactly what we said we were going to do in this AMD trade here. We didn't quite break this pivot high, and that's fine. We're just going to keep waiting. We took a little more bit off the top there, so it's still sitting about 80% of our position. So we're holding the bulk of it totally. for this break. And if we get that break, then I think we can absolutely continue to the top side, right? This thing is lagging. If we get some volume to step in here, then we're even looking even better. But someone mentioned in the chat, CNQ, we like this Canadian natural gas here, I think it is. So natural resources ETF. So look at this. This thing is absolutely buzzing. Such a strong session it's already put in today. And if it breaks this 50, you can absolutely continue to the top side and then look for some next levels around 51, 52. So that's an absolutely good look there on the Canadian natural resources. We like it when we start talking Canadian stuff, even though we do get the carbon tax now. So talk about a rinse show at the pump. We got JT just wanting to keep adding to those expenses, and that's okay because, hey, we just keep trucking on, especially if you're playing these breaks on AMD, then we'll keep hiking the tax. We don't care. That's all right. We'll get the job done. It doesn't matter what it is anyways. So, hey, hold on. Hopefully AMD can hold. Now, Nvidia's up 3.25 right now. This thing, it can't stop. It won't stop. We're going to look. I wish we were joining the trend on that one. I was looking to play this trade because we did have a potential double bottom here on this VWAP hold area. We're not too far off of VWAP, and we had
lots at 30.
Yeah, so yeah, absolute size on this thing here. Let me get a quote highlight on here for you guys. And yeah, look at the strength there. See, and that's just like Sharif's L2 sessions the other day. When you see that type of strength, heavily on one side on the ask, then just continue with it, right? Just don't fight this trend. There's no way you want to fight Nvidia. I don't want to fight Nvidia or any of these strong semiconductors because they can tear your face off, right? So because they're just so strong, and that's what you want to see. A nice steady grind up 3% on the day, and that's great. So when we see strength in this stock, and it doesn't have earnings for a little while. I know we have Pepsi, I think, tomorrow at 6 a.m. So nothing big coming in. Mag 7 in a couple weeks. So anything, just lock in those gains before the earnings report. And I'm sure they'll do just fine, and that's exactly what we want to see. So we'll go touch on some of these sector ETFs and see what is kind of pushing and pulling on the SPY. As you can see, XLF is down a little bit today, but that's healthy. We're chopping around in this area. So a little breather, maybe come back to the bottom of the range and then look for the continuation of the trend. I know we got the big banks coming at the end of the week, like JP Morgan and some other guys, the big players here that are at the end of the week. So we'll hold on to that. Maybe there'll be some position that you can take on here, especially if it dips lower and we get a gap down after those earnings reports, right? So American banks, you always want to own those. And if you can get a good price on the American banks, then absolutely go to buy those because they're bangers, right? They're some of the best in the world and something that you want to hold on to for the long term, Sharif.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm keeping my eye here on Indo, man. It's coming into that 535 high day. I didn't get the opportunity to add. I want to get in at 510. 515 to kind of take advantage of that 10 exponential retracement. It doesn't even give me that. It doesn't even break 20s, and now it's going. Breaking the high of the day. Here we go, 37s, 38s. Here comes 40s. Here is 40s. So this one's going here. INDO, 25%. I think this one has a higher short float. If it doesn't anymore, maybe a lot of people covered. Yeah, I used to have a bigger one. 5.25% right now is the short float for INDO. So nothing for me at this level. I'm not going to punch in at highs. It's got to come in to a support level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. NVDA, I'll be waiting for around 128, maybe 128.25, just for it to come into that 10 exponential moving average on the 5. It's got to come in and around here. And I also like this 128 to 128.25 because you do have some chop in and around there. And there is also this candle that rejected that 128. You also have the initial IB high that worked into 127.75. So we'll see if Nvidia wants to give us that look. But right now, I'm just biased for it going to 130, but maybe not in a straight line. Here comes the futures, the NQ December contract. Right back in, possibly into the volume weighted average price, right around 20,140. We're at 50s right now. We've been very choppy. There's really no direction on the day. Sure, we're down 1/3%, but have a look at the actual chart, the price action. Sure, we're putting in some, higher lows there, but yeah, for the most part, I think it's a chop fest right now with some outlying names. Apple also came into the volume weighted average price. We saw the Katinam intake, the short on that. Apple getting a big boy downgrade today from Jefferies, who think very little of the iPhone 16, think very little of the Apple intelligence and its ability to influence some of these iPhone sales. So if you're into that kind of camp, or if you're in that kind of camp that believes that, you know, that we're the days of AI really influencing these devices are still ahead of us, 2-3 years down the road is what Jeffries is saying. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's the look right now. They also, Mizuho also chimed in a little bit about Apple today, a bit more, you know, let's call it two-sided than Jeffries was. What do you got for us, Adara?
Hey.
Take a look here at earnings here. We do have this earnings segment every day around 11:40 during the midday, looking at names either making their day one earnings move or names that are going to be reporting either after the close tonight or before the open tomorrow. Today, really the only earnings name to talk about is going to be NAPA. This is Duckhorn Portfolio. Initially, they were scheduled to report after the bell. They ended up reporting before the open. They did beat for both sales and for their earnings per share for fiscal Q4 2024. But the biggest thing to mention here is they're announcing they're going to be taken private by Butterfly Equity. This acquisition here for $1.95 billion. It's going to be about $11.10 per share for NAPA, and they're going to be taken private. So interesting look for this name. Now, in terms of earnings on watch here, biggest one, of course, going to be PepsiCo. PEP is the ticker. They're looking here, analysts looking for earnings of $2.30 per share and revenue of $23.95 billion. It should be roughly 2.1% revenue growth if that comes through. So let's see if PEP is able to meet, exceed, or if it fails expectations as it reports tomorrow morning. If these or any other tickers you're looking at today, make sure you vote. You have until 1:50 p.m. to vote. You'll have the top 5 tickers being featured during that audience segment at 2 p.m., guys.
Joe, you a Pepsi guy or a Coke guy?
I'm a Pepsi guy, man. I'm a big Pepsi guy. How about you?
Funny enough, I like Coke over Pepsi, but I like Pepsi Blue. So
you
like
like
that's
Pepsi
my
Blue.
affinity for
Dude,
Pepsi.
a nice cold,
Shout out to
but
Daryl.
rum and Pepsi is the better drink, I think. It's the better drink, a nice cold Pepsi with a nice fresh burger off the grill. Man.
Ram.
Oh, no, she's not. She's like,
not?
Coke.
Oh, that was you, Neil?
Oh, but it tastes
very
better. We
upset.
all know it tastes a little bit better. It tastes better than Coke, so that's okay. Maybe we'll change it when we'll patent that.
I thought it was you, right, Bram?
So yeah, we don't know what's going on with that.
Neil's like, okay, what you guys couldn't hear off camera from what Neil was saying to Joe. He's like, they don't call it Coke and Pepsi, bro. They call it rum, or sorry, Pepsi and rum. Thank you, Neil. Sorry about that. It's called rum and Coke.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Joe, yeah.
Hey, I like it. Yeah, you know what? A Pepsi and a nice Jamaican patty, that is my weakness. That gets me into trouble. Shout out to Darwin. He said he bought some 127 calls this morning, up 70%. Way to go. Way to slap that trade. That's what I'd like to see. And you have some time until expiration because it's looking like they don't expire until next month. So a month today, that's the way to go. When you're going straight directional trades, give yourself a little bit of time so theta doesn't chew you up. So Darwin, I absolutely love that look on that Nvidia call. Too bad AMD isn't doing the same thing, and it is breaking my heart. About to come back to my break even. And we'll take a look at AMD here because it looks like it double topped. I am now out of the trade, which is totally fine. If we can pull up my chart here, that'd be fantastic. There we go. And look, we got the move, and unfortunately, we got stopped out a lot of it, but we got out of the break even here. We're not going to allow a winning trade to become a loser. So we're out there. There's always going to be a potential opportunity to get in again, and that's what we're going to just sit here and wait. My positions aren't showing up on the board right now, but that's okay. We'll get that sorted out, and they'll be up there soon. But I just want to point a couple things out, and it's the tech sector here, right? This is the only strong sector in the day. It's holding the overall market. So if you see Nvidia start to pull back a little bit, it's dragging this thing up, then look for a potential, maybe a little bit more selling in the overall market. Because if you see XLY here, that thing is weak, like Tesla and Amazon, so they're a little bit weaker here. So if they hold this level, that would be fantastic, and then maybe we get a bounce and continue to the top side. We had deliveries on Tesla a couple weeks ago, so sentiment on that thing isn't overall the best right now because they did have a slight miss, and that's okay. We have faith in Elon. Whatever Elon's doing, we like. So there's always going to be an opportunity to get into this stock in Tesla. I know it's one of, it's not my largest holding, about 4th or 5th largest holding in the personal. So yeah, we'll hold on. We'll maintain bullish on Elon, but you can see why we kind of got this push and pull in the overall markets, because a lot of the sectors are weak, right? XLE, XLF. And the discretionary stuff. So that's why we're out of AMD, and we're going to wait. If we hold this a little bit longer, then we get back into the trade. Sharif.
All right, we're 25 pennies, a little bit more in the money here on Nvidia, looking for that 129 break and take. It's breaking above it, but it's not taking it. So I'm packing my patience, added it on the retracement. I missed my ideal entry, which was obviously 60 pennies. I don't know how many candles need to defend on that for my thick head to understand that there is clearly support there. I punched in late, about 14 pennies late, that is. So we're nicely in the money on it, but we definitely haven't rung the profit bell or won't ring the profit bell until this one breaks and takes 129. Otherwise, I'll get stopped out for the remaining amount. Wet my beak already on here. It's going to have to take 129. And if I look at the 5-minute chart, I mean, there's really no reason why this thing can't take 129. It didn't even work its way back down into the 10 exponential. It hasn't touched the 10 exponential on even a wick basis for the better part of an hour and, no, that's incorrect, excuse me, for the better part of now 35 minutes. So it's having a whole lot of trouble taking 129 ram, but we're going to keep an eye out on this one. And by the way, man, let me tell you.
Hey.
So, you know, I did the FSD.
Yeah.
Dude.
Talk to us.
Dude, let me tell you about the full self-drive. Very natural, Joe, but there's obvious issues with it. Let me give you, so you're familiar with Yorkdale Mall, right?
Yorkdale, love Yorkdale, yep.
Okay, so I'm getting out of the area where the Tesla is right there. So there is it's basically a one-way stop sign there, okay? It's a one-way road that comes in, and you're exiting this kind of like side road. And that one-way road in front of you goes onto the Allen Expressway. So people are coming hot. They're coming in fast.
Super hot,
70, 80 kilometers, something like that. People are accelerating onto the highway. And I'm in a stop sign. The car misunderstood the nature of the intersection. It thought it was a 4-way stop. It was a one-way stop. So it like accelerated into the intersection. The car coming 80, I had to slam on the brakes.
Oh, jeez.
Right? All right, we're going to take our profits here right now on Nvidia, but that was the look. So then other than that, Joe, it really did understand, and that's a big thing, mind you. Like, I'm not just trying to say, oh, that was a small thing that could be like
fatal, right? Yeah, totally fatal accident there,
understood a lot of other good things. Let me give you an example. You know that there's a lot of traffic in this country, in this city, and they're basically looking at giving you a ticket. Guys, we're talking. I mean, like, they're not paying attention. They're looking at giving us a ticket if we're blocking the intersection, right? So this car understood not to block the intersection. It was able to gauge how far ahead the car in front of me was so that it wouldn't
so there you go.
block the intersection. So there was a lot of good stuff that it did. I'm not even getting into the point of like the fact that it changes lanes flawlessly. It chooses the exits flawlessly. It does a lot of stuff really good. But
some like totally, some error there that we don't want. So yeah, with that, I think we got Robo-Taxi coming out shortly. Isn't it tomorrow or
10,
something?
10,
10. So today.
Oh,
okay. Today's the 7th. Where am I? I don't know. It was my birthday on the weekend. So we're not thinking straight. We're a little ahead of ourselves there. But we got less than a week before the Robo-Taxi comes out. So we're going to see what that does to Elon and Tesla, right? Because we like Tesla, and we're big fans of Elon. We like what he does. So we got things coming on. We're heading lower here in the market. I'm looking to actually get into this short here on Amazon. I really like Amazon for a potential breakdown. So we're gonna see if we can join this overall trend. One thing of why I'm also out of break even on my AMD. I'm gonna pull up Amazon in a second here, but look at this failed break of the pivot. Right? So once it failed, it rejected to make a new high there, and that's totally fine, but we just get out because that can signal that, hey, we didn't find any new price discovery up here, and we didn't want to go higher, so they rejected that, and we head to the downside. But let me pull up my Amazon here, and we're going to see why I am shorting Amazon. It's the exact same thesis of pretty much what happened to AMD. We failed to break pivot highs, and now we formed an absolute almost to the penny at 182. a double top. So if this thing squeezes and breaks view up, that means we're wrong on the trade. But until then, if we break this pivot low, then we're absolutely looking to go a little bit lower here on the trade. Again, all the sectors are weak, and that's going to be the narrative. And that's usually what happens, Sharif, usually during the when you have big economic data during the week. You get a lot of chop and turning around in those levels, a lot of directionalist trading, as you can see. I mean, the Qs are not down too much, only down about 0.3% there, and same with the SPY. So no crazy selling. This is absolutely healthy. And when you see the buying step in, things are a lot relatively stronger, and that's something that we like to see. Like we were mentioning with AMD up 5% on Friday, so that's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and we like AMD, Sharif. We like AMD for the long term. So that, like I was saying before, it's still down 25% off its all-time highs, right? Lagging its peers a little bit for good reasons, but hey, it's a strong stock. I mean, someone's got to be number 2 in the semi race, Sharif, and I think everybody thinks that it can be
right,
AMD.
bro.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Keeping my eye on INDO here. Got a nice pullback after working its way up into 580, topping till candle galore here on the 5-minute. So interesting. It looks awfully bearish, but look, I mean, we don't really break down decidedly after that, I should say. We still continue to consolidate. We're not even weak enough to get back to the 10 exponential, right? These should be kind of like little things that we look for to see, you know, whether we hold up or whether we continue on our way down, possibly into 505 for that volume weighted average price. But we'll have to break 5 1/3 first before we make our way, obviously, into that 505, because that's where the 10 exponential is. So I'm looking right now, 3 candles with lower highs, but not necessarily lower lows, trying to hold up at 545, you know, 540, depending on whether you're using the closing prints or the wicks. But INDO looking good. It's got a catalyst. Oil's up. Oil's probably going to continue to run up. Who knows, man? Oil continue to run up more with China stimmies, right? China's dropping that money right now, 2 trillion yuan, Joe. So that could, you know, get that. I dare like that. That could get some stimulus. Obviously, oil's been depressed because we've been over gauging China demand. That could change with some more stimulus coming out. So it might not just be the Middle East here pumping up oil. It could be, you know, the reawakening of the Chinese economy, or we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, today, the first day they're open after a week off in Golden Week, it's obviously been active through the Hang Seng, which doesn't close in Hong Kong during that Golden Week, but we'll keep tabs on that. So I'm really interested on INDO if it can set up properly. Let's talk about some other small cap gappers, though, that I haven't mentioned anything about. So here's one, EH. This one's awfully respectful of these moving averages. It really depends on where it is in the move. Right now, it's a bit of, you know, we're getting into those highs, $23, awfully respectful of the 10. The deeper retracements come into the 20. As you can see, nice little double bottom on the 5-minute at $21. Let me give you the deets on EH. What is this one all about? EHang Holdings. Speaking of China, all right, here's a Chinese company. All right, EHang Holdings. Basically, what they do is unmanned aerial vehicles. Oh boy. $1.43 billion dollar market cap, about 11.75 million shares traded on the day. And let's bring down trade ideas and find out what the float and the short float is for this company, EH. We have about a 40 million share float and a good short float here, about 13 2/3% of that 40 some odd million shares is being borrowed for short sale. So we can squeeze. Now, let's see what we do with the $23, because that topping tail candle off 23 sent us all the way back down south of 21. So I want to see exactly what this one can do. I haven't loaded it, I should say, on a trading screen, but this looks awfully good here. SMCI got a bit of a dip here, guys. By the way, we knocked on the door 48.50. Then there was a monster red candle. By monster, I'm talking about $1.50. 48.5. We come back, double bottom, guys, at 47. Adara, what was the level on SMCI?
The level was 45.70.
45.70. Adara says there is a level of importance on SMCI. The human algo has spoken, so we're going to keep keep an eye out on her levels. But I'm looking for either a double bottom here curling up to breach highs, or I'd like something around the volume weighted average price, Joe. I'm not going to be quick to jump into this one because I could get probably in a lot of trouble if it doesn't go my way. What are you looking at?
Yeah, hey, we're looking at Amazon here. We're out of this trade. Hey, we're going to cut the trade, right? Like we had a good trade on AMD earlier. We cut the trade, entered back in. Now, if a second opportunity arises, we're going to pounce on that. But we have a really good question here from Matt Florence. Joe, what theta and delta do you look for on an options trade? Great question. I mean, theta is kind of a defined metric. It's just time decay. So you don't really look out for theta on like selecting your options, because the farther you are out in expiry, the smaller theta would be. The closer you are in expiry, the larger theta would be. So that's not really a metric that you use to select your option, other than it from an expiry standpoint. So just understand the metric from closer date expiry to further date expiry. But as for the delta, Matt, this is really important. It really depends what strategy you're employing. If you were here for my options credit spread sessions, you would know that I select a delta of 0.1. Right? So a point or a 10 delta, which essentially says that this contract has a 90% chance of expiring out the money. So great question, Matt. We love the questions. We love the options questions. Guys, don't be scared to ask, because if you're thinking it, absolutely other people are thinking it as well too. So throw those questions in the chat. Hey, and you know what? The more questions, the better, because then you're getting what you need answered, and that can help you with your trading, right? So with small questions like Matt Florence, those are great because they're just little nuances within your trading that you need to figure out. And when we answer them, you're not the only one who's thinking those questions. So you're getting questions answered for a bunch of people, and we really like that. What do you think, Sharif?
I 100% agree with you, dude.
Yeah, brother.
Especially the options questions, guys. Bring them fast, bring them furious. Joe's the options guy. You guys got any questions about how you want to play this or play that? Different option strategies, even different names. My man, technical analysis is up a storm. That doesn't make any English sense, but that's okay. So keep. It doesn't matter, says Neil. Love it. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at right now. Call me crazy, Ram, but I'm looking at getting into Nvidia again over here. She called me crazy multiple times. Love it. Because we did breach 129 aggressively. Now I want to see if we use said 129 level as support. You're not going to have to wait long. Here it comes off that double top on the 1 minute. 129 and 2/3 coming into 129 hot here. Let's see if it touches that whole dollar level, finding support here in the teens, weaseling back into the 20s. Nvidia has been awfully strong. We know that the Nvidia AI conference starts tomorrow. I believe we have one of their VPs. I think it starts today, but I think the actual speeches and the whatever things that we can cover start tomorrow. I think they got the workshops today. Obviously, this has been a very successful strategy for a lot of these companies. Case in point, Palantir. They invite everybody over to use that AIP software, get the programmers to learn how to use it, get them involved in the ecosystem. It looks like, obviously that's being done. I'm not a tech guy, but this seems to be something that I'm picking up on over here with with these tech companies, especially with AI, right?
Yeah.
Getting everybody included. All right, I'm going long here. What happened? I didn't punch. Here on Nvidia. Let's see if this one wants to hold, hopefully. Let's see if this one wants to hold this general area over here. We're going to give it about right there. And then we're going to basically look to take everything out. So if we can, there's some selling here I can see at the $0.25. So I'm not going to give this one too much room. Don't want to give too much back. But if it holds the whole dollar, great. If it doesn't, we're getting out of dodge. Want to see if 129 can act as a support level. Initially, it was a resistance level, Joe. So we'll see what we get here.
Hey, yeah, beautiful stuff looking there, Sharif. I mean, absolute continuation with that trend there. We like those looks there. So anytime you're joining the trend, Sharif and I are really going to like those types of trades because we're not fighting anything, right? We don't want to fight. We don't want to fight the trend because the trend is our friend and we don't fight them. So unless they get you mad or something like that. But hey, you don't want to fight the stock. So, but anyways, Ross Henson, I really like how you pay attention, Ross, and everything like that. So I'm always glad to answer your questions. And how do you deal with bad liquidity on 0.1 deltas as it trends lower during the day and reaches your profit target? Sometimes I can't find a buyer when the delta has drifted down. And you know what? That's actually really true. And I'll give you a scenario. One time I had a spread open and I wanted to close it just because there was some macroeconomic data, and I couldn't close it because there was very little open interest on it. So liquidity on the stock is absolutely key, right? But also, if that option is next to almost expired worthless, like only worth like 0.01 cent, so $1, you know what, just hold it, you know what I mean? The chances of it coming against you, and if it does, the more the value increases, there'll be a little bit more liquidity there. But if the contract is essentially worth nothing, don't be afraid to hold on to it until expiry, because if it does decide to move in the opposite direction, that means liquidity and open interest will increase a little bit there, Ross. So hopefully that answered your question, because I ran into that one time and I had to call IBKR actually. I'm like, I can't close this position. I want out of the position. And then they're like, well, sir, it's not worth anything. When I'm like, okay, yeah. He said to me, he's like, it's worth $1. So I don't know why you want to close it, right? So just let that one expire worthless and you'll be okay there, especially if it's valued down there. So yeah, Ross, really good look there, brother. I like how you're active in the chat and doing all that stuff, paying attention. We love that stuff. So yeah, here we go. So we're still chopping around here. And AMD, I'm looking for AMD to continue higher. Look, good thing we got out of this Amazon trade here, because we would have been squeezing up here. And if it breaks VWAP, which is hugging price really tight, so when I see this type of, I have a little playbook based on this, that when an asset sells really hard, down about to over 2.5% here, and the volume weighted average price hugs the price that tight, I'm looking for a potential bounce there on this instead of the continuation to the downside. So we're going to look for the bounce on that. And when we get back from Adair, we'll talk more.
Bang.
Bang.
We're going to talk here today about what's been happening so far this morning. Pretty busy day for the market. S&P 500 just in a bit of an uptrend here, kind of curling to the upside. We have lots of strength in Bitcoin, which is slightly up on the day, but then actually has since reclaimed that $64,000 in the first hour and a half or so of trading today. In terms of names on watch, we have lots of strength in semiconductors, but most notably, we have to talk about SMCI. Supermicro announcing earlier today that they actually apparently are shipping over 100,000 GPUs per quarter. This update having a bit of a belated impact on the stock price. Right at 9:30, we start pushing higher, currently up about 14.5%, even with a bit of a pullback. Lots of small caps on watch again. Once again, today's low float name of the day is going to be SOBR, SOBR, up about 170%. It's halted a couple times. Trading volume here about 5.6 million shares. I'm seeing a market cap right now around $2 million. That is, of course, higher after this move up we've had today. Also worth noting, though, very small float, about 260,000 shares. Economic data pretty light. We will have the consumer credit change at 3 p.m. and Fed speak starting at 1 p.m. with comments from Fed's Bowman, guys. We'll also have Neil at his lesson of the day.
Thank you very much, Adair. Lesson of the day here. We always talk about the simple concept of relative strength and relative weakness, but I think we got to take it to a whole nother level. And I love it when it's really obvious and something is just thick when everything else is strong. And I think that's one thing you want to watch out for, especially on a day like today. I'm going to talk about the chips and talk about crypto, because the crypto move was gigantic. Anybody that's pulled up a chart of SMCI knows that some power moves are happening. A squeeze is happening in SMCI, up 14.5%. At some point in the afternoon, I'll discuss, when you're doing a reversion trade, Neil, wait for the actual close underneath the trend line instead of 1, 2, 3. That one was okay. That one was okay. That one was even better. But you can see what's going on. 15% up on SMCI. Nvidia, 3% to the upside and looking incredibly strong. Micron, almost a program buying since VWAP, up 1% on the day. Now we're going to go to the other end of the spectrum here. And now I'm not short AMD, but AMD down on the session. However, it's at least holding on to VWAP. It's held on to some support levels. So I don't know that this is the one that's going to be the obvious one. The one that was the obvious one, at least right now, is Intel. So didn't participate in the break. And while the market's consolidating off the highs, it's consolidating at the lows. And if you can ever identify, no, look, this doesn't mean that Intel's going to go down and like it's some kind of guarantee. Yeah, Intel's going to go lower on the session, or maybe AMD if you look at it, although volume getting that one above VWAP. But if you can identify sometimes early a stock that doesn't want to go with the group, like it doesn't break out the highs, okay, great. And then as you're making fresh highs, it loses what you would think is a normal support level. As the market retests said highs, it's not just at VWAP. Like it would be one thing if this was testing up at $22.50 or trying to break VWAP when the market's at the highs. No, it's consolidating off of the lows. That means relative to the other names, it's sick. It's not just relatively weak compared to other chip names, it's just flat out trash compared to the other chip names. Now, I don't think this is the most obvious example. The best example of this, and to me, the one stock that was probably the easiest short opportunity, and you always wish it could have been your best stock. It was not my best. It should have been. It's going to be Mara. Because if you look at, whoops, I just went to Microsoft instead of MSTR. That's old muscle memory, right? We don't trade MSTR. We trade Microsoft. This is MSTR. Bitcoin, big bounce over the weekend, broke out 64,000, which was a big resistance level. So you're going to see this as strong. Like, okay, well, yeah, but how's Coinbase doing? Okay, Coin was strong. Now look at it underneath VWAP. Okay, well, maybe this one's a little bit sick. Okay, so it's not breaking lows, but it's underneath VWAP. Maybe we've got something here. Well, let's have a look at maybe a miner. Oh, you know what? Coin's doing a little bit worse than this miner, which is Riot, which is at VWAP, which broke out. But the easiest, I think, was simply Mara. Now, what happens to Mara is it goes right into previous highs. When the market's breaking out, it loses everything, drops the bid. And again, when the market's consolidating in a bull flag, when Bitcoin's consolidating in a bull flag, when MSTR is trying to pull back and not really doing so, you're getting pullbacks into VWAP on Riot, which is actually another miner. Mara is breaking the lows and consolidating underneath them. So when you're looking to short pops or buy dips in a trend, it's always great to have this is the stock I like, this is one we're going to go into. It can be even better if you take a few minutes or take some time to identify, hey, is there something in the sector on the trend up that I should be buying the dip on? Or if I like to short, what's the thing that I should be shorting the pop in because it's clearly the one that is flat out sick. Now I'm going to double up on why this is a better opportunity than Intel. Because when you zoom it out, and from a technical standpoint, unlike the other crypto names, this could not even get past lower high resistance. When Bitcoin made a bounce, when the crypto names made a bounce, on the daily chart, this is just another failed test of the 50-period moving average. From a technical standpoint, it doesn't look good, but when you regroup after 10 o'clock, it looks even worse. On the days where you get the big parabolic movers that set things up for you, such as MSTR moving the way we saw here today, you're talking about a parabolic breakout. Hold a VWAP, then right back highs, up 8% on the day. That's exactly the moment that if something is red in the crypto space, you want to be all over it to the south side. Just like when we see SMCI doing what it's doing, or well, was doing, now it's actually pulling back, or doing what Nvidia is doing. If you can find something which is just threatening low after low, then that's where you want to short pops in. If you want to play resist support and resistance, play support on strong stocks, but take some time and effort to find what is not just relatively weak, because I would venture you could make an argument that AMD is also weak because it's red on the day, but there's a difference between AMD and Intel. Well, one's down 1%, the other's down 1/3%. But AMD's been able to rally and get back to VWAP and has started to eliminate the downward trend by putting in some higher lows. Higher lows into the same high or into higher highs is a little bit of strength. So it takes a little bit of work when you're scanning through those names, but it ends up being worth it because when you have these big moving days and the market's not doing much, finding the right things to revert or to play off of key levels in the right direction is going to get you a little bit of extra cheese. Instead of trying to short something that's flying, go ahead and find the weak space or the sick name in the group, right? Like Riot strong, Mara sick. I don't know why Mara is so bad today. I just know that when crypto's up, it was still down. And that's why it's your lesson of the day. Some parabolic movers will give you the chance to hunt for the names in the group that are not just failing to participate, but they're flat out sick. And that's your lesson of the day. Find those sick names if you do want to try going the other direction.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative, eloquent, and just all around awesome as always. Neil Roberts. Guys, 12 o'clock, almost around every day, noon hour, lunchtime, whatever you want to call it. He drops hot lines. All right, where am I long? 81s right now on Nvidia. Now we're printing 10s, 15s. Take your pick here, zigging and zagging. I'd like something in and around the top end of the range. The top end of the range takes us all the way into that 129 and 2/3. We'll have to see if we can finally break and take 129 because we've been having a lot of trouble with it today. Above it a little bit, below it a little bit, so we'll pack our patience there. I did get stopped out, sadly, of my dip trade on INDO. I tried to take the 10 exponential and then it gave me a finger. And then it went the other way. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I want a 520 possibly here on INDO because that is the volume weighted average price. We'll see if this one wants to hold up. It's up 25%, but it's given up a lot of the gains right now on INDO. So we'll pack our patience there. Nvidia zigging and zagging right now with 130 yet again, coming down again. Now, if this, here's the thing, makes a newer low below that 128 and 2/3, this could be an interesting look here for Nvidia because now we've had, let's see, from 1150 onwards, we've been putting in lower lows and lower highs. So that candle at 1150 on the 5-minute, the top there was 129.65. Every incremental candle subsequent has had a lower high. So we'll pack our patience with this one. INDO is not giving me the entry, sadly. It's still holding up at, I don't want to say the low 540s. I don't need to be first into this one. It can definitely go, and we know it can go, but I wanted a good entry on it, and I didn't get the entry that I wanted. So I'm a little disappointed with myself how I traded this. Right now, I'm trying to decide exactly if I'm going to punch back in or if I'm going to wait for a VWAP trigger. Right now, I'm a little unsure. Joe, what are you looking at?
Hey, I'm looking over here at Amazon again. We took a second trade on this. And you know what? I'm not the happiest about this entry, and I really want to emphasize because when we take that second entry, we want a little bit better here, closer, tighter to VWAP. That was the initial plan there, but we just slightly missed it, but that's okay because if this thing decides to break down a little bit more, then I know there's going to be some move maybe towards 181, even though it is slightly working. So anyways, we're going to hold on to this position and we're going to give it a little bit of room there, but that's fine. But Nick W., I think that's his name. Yeah, Nick W., he's always in the chat there. He's always throwing out great questions, so I'm always glad to answer yours. And I really like this one here. He said he had Teradyne Inc. Not too familiar with the company, but just from a technical standpoint, he's looking to do some options plays on that. And you know what, I like that. So we're going to talk a little bit of maybe what I would do specifically on this. So as you can see, we're kind of consolidating in this area between 129. We're at the bottom of the range and about the high about being 138. With this is sideways movement. And with that, because we're so versatile with options, you can trade options with options, and that's the cool thing about it. I would look to do something like an iron condor on this trade. And an iron condor is something that we'll touch on later in the week, but it's just a combination of two identical, not identical, but two credit spreads. It's a combination of the bull put spread and the bear call spread. So what I would do here, Nick W., is I would initially open my bear call leg first, even though we are at the bottom of this range. So this means I'm essentially bearish on this asset. But if it continues to hold this level and decide to trade back up into the range, that's exactly when I would open the second leg of this trade, and that being the bull put spread. So that is something I would look at. Here is playing a condor on this sideways movement. Sharif and I were saying, we mentioned the other day, is like there's so many different ways to play the market. So, and that's what options give you, right? Instead of just being directionally biased all the time, you can have market neutral strategies like the iron butterflies, the condors, and stuff like that. So they're complex strategies and stuff, but we will absolutely dive into those because that's what we do. We like talking options, Sharif, and we're going to get into those complex strategies, and we're going to talk to you guys about those strategies, and it's going to add more versatility to your tool bag. So you're going to have another tool in the tool shed. So yeah, condo on that, Nick W. Open one leg at a time, see which way is working, and then we're off to Adara.
DIS, the Walt Disney Company, at day's lows right now, down about 2.8%. From what I can see, we got a little bit of that volume spike as we get news that Hurricane Milton has now been upgraded to a Category 5. We know Hurricane Helene also hit Florida, so DIS on watch specifically with its Walt Disney World theme park in Florida, as we have not one, but two hurricanes in that area, guys. DIS to the downside.
Yeah, shout out to the OG Gaurav for calling that out. Thank you, Gaurav. I did see that. Was just about to mention it, but I'm trying to nurse this trade right now in INDO as we work our way through the $0.50 again, looking to take some profit out in the mid-60s there. We're going to have to see if INDO wants to reascend. It did touch double eights. So, shout out to CD Lamb, man. He had some bunch of catches yesterday as the Cowboys took that one late. Where are my Steelers fans at? Where are you guys at? Yeah. We took you guys in the Super Bowl. We're taking you guys again yesterday. It's not a good look for you guys, not with the Cowboys. But they did beat us up in the 70s, but you got to go back all the way to 70s to get anything from them there. All right, here we go. We're coming into my level here on INDO, and there's the fill, Joe.
Hey, let's go.
All right, so we're waiting on this one. Sad I did not get my dollar cost average into the $0.25 there. I had the DCA basically at that third of a dollar to take advantage of the bottom wick. It doesn't come back in and there and test it. So Melvin Tejada, that game was garbage, bro. Sheesh, Dak is trash. Okay, cool. I'm sure you can do so much better, bro. Anyway, so we'll keep an eye out for INDO. Looking for it to come back into my level here, 5 1/3, 5 1/4. Still very interested.
Go AMD. Sorry, buddy. I'm buzzing over here. I'm buzzing. We're buzzing over here. We're talking about AMD. I'm not even in the trade, and I'm happy for AMD. You know what I mean? Because we love it when those stocks are absolutely buzzing. We're having a great time over there. Shout out Adam DeLuz. Our guy was in this city from the UK, sending in $2 super chats. Thanks, Neil, for the great lesson of the day. His algos must be printing, so he's just sending the cash our way too. So deposit this way, deposit in your account, deposit in ours, and we like it when the algos are printing. Yeah. So we're actually going to take before we go over to AMD, I'm just going to touch on here. I'm just buying the bottoms. I'm selling the bottoms here on AMD. I'm selling into support. And that's not going to work, right? So like when you got these strong stocks and they don't want to break down, even though it does like we're kind of curling over here, putting in that double top and kind of putting in that turtle shell type pattern here, looking like we might go lower. But if you don't have a precise entry on these, like I should be so much closer to VWAP here and I'm not. And that's why when I sell these bottoms into support, they're not breaking, and they're not breaking on volume, so I'm just getting squeezed out of them. So you know what? We're just going to stick to what's working, and what's working is AMD and the semis. They're absolutely buzzing. AMD's now flat on the day, just up about 0.1%. So that thing is absolutely moving, and we like that. Tesla's starting to recover as well, too. So we're going to see that discretionary aspect start to strength. And Sharif, we know it doesn't take much for this market to get going. Like we don't even know what now AMD's buzzing. Looking to go into this potential gap, which is absolutely, we love Jose and I in the back. He's working on an algo that we discussed not too long ago that actually works on this specific type of trade. And this is really what I like to see. There's a couple positions here that we're going to probably talk about later on in the week and get that sample set built up with that, Sharif.
Can't wait to hear about this algo, bro. That's fantastic. Look there. I'm learning Python every day, little by little.
Saying
bro.
that,
And man, we're getting into like these if-else statements now, and it's a whole scene. Like I haven't touched any of this since like high school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I've never touched any, and it's intriguing because these guys know what they're doing in the back, right?
Yeah.
So they're him and Yanni are writing up scripts, and
writes up too?
Yeah, he's been using Pine Script though. He's using Pine Script, yeah. So Jose and Wayne are two. Those guys are writing up scripts back there. So it's good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So.
I talked with Chow a lot in the kitchen. He's always telling me about the situation, the algo room, because we have an entire algo room back there, guys. So talking to a lot of those guys, that is the look there. So still holding my INDO position, looking for this one to move up, but I'm certainly interested in adding at 5 1/4. Let's see what else is moving over here. Let's look at some of these large caps, man. The only one I've traded today is Nvidia. Let's see what the situation is. Okay, Nvidia is definitely working its way back above 129. It looks to be a lot more stable this time because now it finally put in a new high. So now you're getting the break of that trend of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutively lower highs. This candle decimates that trend. In fact, I love this look right here because every single closing print above the 10, you do have the wicks below, so they will wick you out if you were doing it on an intra-candle basis. But if you're waiting for the closing print, well, then I think it's a bit of a different story there. So shout out to Adam, who really stressed waiting for the closing print, but oftentimes we do get weaseled out intra-candle on an intra-candle basis. So good look. Keeping an eye on Apple, and definitely working its way back into VWAP. Likewise with Tesla, getting a bit of a move back into the volume weighted average price. Tesla's looking interesting here. If we could break above the, this. Yeah, interesting look here. Kind of an inverse head and shoulders a little bit here on the 5. Not that I want to put too much stock into that, but a move above VWAP is interesting. And this area break at around 245 is also quite interesting as well. I mean, I know I'm saying interesting a lot, but the reason I say 245 is a good look is because you definitely had price action initially support, now resistance at that level. So if we can work above that, get above VWAP, Tesla could definitely be a nice intraday play today with robo-taxi and whatever on the horizon.
On the horizon, yeah.
Not that bad of a look.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there? How's that?
Hey, we're just looking at AMD here. We're not in anything, but we're going to maybe look to join this trend here. You know what? And speaking of Tesla, we might look to join the trend here on Tesla. If it can break 246 or break VWAP and move to the top side, the overall market is not really doing much. So if this thing catches any form of bid, that can start dragging the rest of the market up with it too. So we're looking at those. Guys, let us know what you're looking at in the chat. Send us some options questions, send us some tickers, something that may be like, hey, we may not notice, and you guys are like, yeah, you guys got to look at this, check this out. We love that because that gives us trade ideas for you guys as well too. So continue to do that, man. You guys are doing great with the questions and stuff, so just keep feeding them our way. And this is exactly what we were looking for. It's unfortunate that I couldn't join this trend with AMD. You know what? I should have stuck to it a little bit longer. I decided to try shorting Amazon, shorting a strong stock. Usually doesn't work in our favor that well, and I don't know why I swayed from something that really works, especially when it's working really well. Double bottom potential here on that, so that's something we really like. And now we're entering the gap, which is something that we really like on that as well. So we broke this pivot high, and with that came some new highs. Do we go for the high of the day? Let's see. Maybe. I mean, we had a nice little run in the pre-market here. It might take a little while, but again, we consolidated quite a bit. So maybe we grabbed enough liquidity that we can go and make that potential high a day, which would be absolutely amazing for AMD because we love AMD. We are in some positions in the purse, but hey, that's okay. We love that stuff. So guys, this week we got Introduction to Options Part 2. Sharif, we're going to go over the Greeks. We're going to go over beginner, intermediate, and advanced strategies. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that this Thursday. It's a continuation of the Part 1 that we had last Thursday. All right, so we're going to get some more options content for you guys. So make sure you guys are throwing your questions in the chat or what positions you may be looking at. And we like taking a look at those. Like we looked at Terra Nova or whatever it was not too long ago, Teradyne, and we give our 2 cents on those, right? It's just another trade idea, and that's why you talk and work with other traders because they may see something that you may not see, and that's what you need, right? Because the more eyes, the better, and someone who, guys like Obi and Jose just say like, hey, look at this, look at that, and that's what you want to do, right? You just have more eyes on different things, so shout out to all those guys in the back, my boys out there, so yeah, that's about it.
All right, I'm looking at SOBR now, guys. Interesting look. $11 comes in, rejects, and here we go. This is the area low that we're at right now. We've been bottoming tail candle around 950 to 10 on SOBR. It has put in a lower high. But there is this flat bottom that you could take advantage of. We're a little distant from it right now, so I don't know exactly how I want to trade this. Up 160%. Here we go with 950 again. Let's see if we can get down into that level. Buyer at 82, holding us up for the moment. I gave you guys the deets on this earlier with respect to the float, the short float. Let's see if it can reclaim 10, but I am a little concerned with the chart pattern setting up. It's held the 10 exponential. I mean, we're at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 right now. As I see it, that's what I'm looking at over here on the right. That is the 5-minute chart. Again, my black charts are all 5-minute, off which I chart, and then I execute on the 1 or the 3 on the white charts, in case you're wondering. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looking for this one to hold up, but worried about a flat bottom break as well. So let's give this one the old college try over here. There we go. We're going to get filled. We're going to give this one a little bit of room, right? We're going to put it all the way down into here. And then we're going to basically look to take it all the way out there. So that's the look. Let's see if we can get something across on the north side of 10, possibly that that quarter dollar. We'll see if we can, number one, cross above the 10 on the bid, because the bid hasn't been crossing above the 10, only been crossing on the ask. So keep your eye on the time and sales. The time and sales will not bamboozle you with respect to what the orders are coming in. All of them that ever print are going to come in deep prints. Dark pools or otherwise, they're going to show up. Sometimes they don't show up, though, at the time that you expect them. Here's what I mean by that. So you'll get a dark pool print that printed at 7 a.m., gets reported at 10:30 a.m. So it kind of throws things off, and that's why we get these dark pool wicks over here. So, you don't make too much of those. And how do you know they're dark pool? Well, you can always look over here. See where it says market? And then there's letters beside those names, beside the price. When you see D, that means dark pool. Now, I don't know if you guys get that on your time and sales, but we definitely get it over here on Real Trading. And the reason that you need to account for those is because they're not reflective of current market price action. They're reflective of what it was when they printed. Why they get reported after they get printed, I have no idea. Maybe you guys know that in the chat. Let me know. But we're 10 pennies right now out of the money on this SOBR. Looking for it to hold that general area of 10. Joe.
Hey. Yeah. You know what they say, Sharif?
What do they say?
The third time's a charm.
Okay.
That's it. The third time's a charm. We took Amazon for the third time. We got a way better price this time, and that's exactly what we want. As you guys can see, we stopped out twice, but what we do is we give ourselves a better RVR in this perspective of trading, right? Look how much better this entry is compared to my other two. I'm selling into support, and hence why I get squeezed. So what I better do here is take a little bit off the top while I can before it squeezes back against me. And I'm going to take a little bit larger of a size off the top here because we failed to break. Oh, but we're breaking. So maybe I'll take a little bit less off, and that's okay, right? That's what we want to see. So third time's a charm. But hey, Sharif, that's part of my rules, though. I won't go more than 4 times on an entry, right? Because then I feel like I'm a little bit chasing it, right? You got to stay systematic, right? So with things, you don't want to just be button mashing, right? When you're playing Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, right? Just guys button mashing. You don't want to get into the button mashing. I love that. We've all done that before. You're in NHL and you're fighting the boys, right? And it's just pure button mashing. There's no skill to that, right? So that's exactly what we
wants you to know that personally. She's never done that. Not
she's never
that you
button
asked
mashed
or anything.
Yeah, okay. She never button mashed.
To let you know.
Okay, all right. That's all right. So she's not gaming maybe as hard as the boys are or anything like that. But yeah, so avoid the button mashing when you're in trading. If you feel a little bit tilted, go and take a breath. If you miss the trade, that's fine. There'll always be another opportunity. And Adara.
MYTE picking some volume here on the 15-minute chart. This company is based in the Netherlands. My Theresa set here to acquire Yux Net-a-Porter from Richemont. So the deal here is going to be worth 555 million euros, and in exchange, Richemont will be receiving a 33% equity stake in MYTE. This one here pushing higher, again, with a bit of an increase in volume here. So keep an eye on this ticker. And if there's any other tickers you're looking at today, make sure to vote for them in the chat. ! Join, space, $, and the ticker of choice, guys.
Thank you very much, Derek. Yeah, you were saying something.
No, I was just saying take a little more off the top there.
Hey.
On Amazon, because we are breaking. Don't.
There you go.
I was waiting for you. On that, I fed you that one there. Yeah. Brad does real estate. I love anybody who does real estate. ARM is buzzing. Yes, sir, it is. It is one of the stronger stocks on the day, up on the day. So we like to see that. Good shout out on ARM. Hey, Brad, I guess hopefully you're in that, and hopefully you have a good entry here. Let's see, we'll pull it up on a 5-minute here to see what it's looking like. And the thing is trending just like Nvidia and some of the other semis. So good luck there. Brad does real estate on ARM. Hey, oh, watch out here. Potential pivot here, though. If we break higher, if we break this wick high, then you can go a little bit higher. Just be careful of this isolated candle print and this isolated volume signature here that could signal a potential turn around. But Amazon is breaking down, and what we were saying to Shreve earlier, third time is a charm. So we're going to look to take a little bit more off as we break these levels here. And we took a little bit more off just right there, and that's exactly what we're going to look to continue to do as the discretionary aspect in the market, Shreve, is weak.
Yeah, it is right now, man. I haven't been touching these Mag 7s for a while. I mean, I traded Nvidia today, but I feel like I've been waiting for this market to come out of the position that it's in. Let's say this 20,000 point and change. I mean, we had a good week last week with some days, but let's just have a look over here. Let's go outside of the 5-minute. Where are we at here? Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, obviously, we're definitely ranging somewhat, but it's a consolidative look, a little bit, below 20,000, a little bit above. Now we're above that 20,000 point area. We spent multiple days last week. The first, the second, the third, and the fourth were all below 20,000. So we'll keep tabs on that. I'm just watching my positions over here. This one is in trouble. INDO, this doesn't hold above 33s. That's gone. SOBR is going to have to hold above 10 as well, but it's zigging and zagging. We'll find out what the situation is once we get back from Adara at the green screen.
We do our second small cap recap of the day, and we actually have a really interesting spot right now for the IWM, that Russell 2000. For one, we have lower highs here with some support at 217.30s, but now we're actually seeing a couple bottoming tails candles coming in at that level. Since then, potentially a surge higher. So let's see if we can make a higher high here in the IWM and reverse a bit of that downtrend. Could be a bit of a pivotal point right now for this ticker and for this index as a whole, the Russell 2000. So many small caps to talk about today. We have INDO, MYTE, SRRK. We're going to start off this list here with SOBR. This is one of the strongest midday plays. Sharif, I know, has been involved in this one, currently involved in SoberSafe. This ticker, not seeing any news on it, but it does have here a pretty small float. We're talking 260,000 shares from what I was seeing. Decent amount of social media attention. It has run in the past. Most recent market cap I was seeing was around $2 million. So still a smaller market cap despite that move here to the upside today. Next up, we have Cerence, CRNC. We haven't gone over this one yet today, but it does have a 16% short float. Currently pushing into new high of days this morning, announced the appointment of a new CEO and reaffirmed its Q4 revenue guidance. So good look here for CRNC. Last but not least, Oncolytics Biotech. This is a day two move for ONCY. Announced on Friday morning some progress for some of its cancer treatment studies for including breast cancer and pancreatic cancer, saying that they're ready to have an FDA accelerated approval path. So ONCY, larger market cap here, just over $100 million. Day two move to the upside. Again, if you like these or any other tickers that you want to see talked about on the afternoon show, the top 5 tickers voted for can be seen on that show. So make sure you vote in the chat, !Dwayne, space, $, and your ticker of choice.
Thank you very much, Adara. As Adara was talking about SOBR, I got stopped out of SOBR as it broke that $10 level. So we'll look to keep an eye out on this one as it's breaking down. It looked like it was going to halt there at 877 or so, but it gets a bit of a false halt right back above the volume weighted average price, which on my chart's around 9 1/5, give or take. So we're going to watch to see if this one wants to catch a bit of a bid at around VWAP. Otherwise, nothing doing over there. INDO doing a little bit better. Looking for this one to work right back above. It's been putting in successively higher lows, but not necessarily those higher highs. So we're stuck in a bit of a compression pattern here on Indo, kind of looking like a bull pennant, I should say, setting up with the compression pattern obviously being that pennant. So keeping my eye on this one, looking at getting or adding on Indo on the drops, and then we'll see if we can wet our beak on the pops on this one. Next level I'm waiting for here, 58s. We're currently printing 53s on the level 2. So let's keep an eye out here on SOBR. It is now breaking down aggressively below that VWAP. So VWAP, as I said, 9 1/5. We're down to 8 2/3. Here comes 8 1/2. Lots of bleeding here on this name, giving back a lot of the move. Wow, here comes 8, breaking through 8 1/2. What I'm looking at is my 5-minute chart, guys, in case you're wondering. But that is a look right now. So, yeah, that 10 does not hold. That flat bottom break comes in quite fast, furious, and aggressive. There is some support, though, at 8. Keep your eye on that. So, VWAP means bupkis to this stock. But there is this consolidation kind of bull flag that we put in towards the open, but we started certainly in the pre-market there with that $8 level. Gonna pack my patience on this one. Don't need to be first negative on this one though, so we're gonna have to be careful with this. Also, the other one that I want to mention, EH. Haven't had any trades on EH today. It's not the biggest mover either. 20% or so. It did work its way finally into that VWAP. Like I didn't want to touch it anywhere around here because it just was not trading the way that I expected it to trade. But now this is a nice look. If it can hold above this 20 3/4, let's say maybe 20 2/3, and curl back up maybe into 22s, this one is awfully spready. So you got to be ready to deal with that if you're going to trade this stock. EH, guys, I'll give you the details on this one super quick. It is a $1.3 billion market cap, almost 13 million shares traded today, 12.9 at this point. And let's bring down trade ideas and have a look at what the short float is. Okay, so here it is, about 40 million share float with a 13.68% short float there. So definitely one that can get moving, but it's got to give you the right look. Now, true to form, INDO did work up above that 5.5, but still doing what we talked about, which is lower highs but higher lows. It's stuck in that compression pattern. If my bias is that this one continues to the north side, I should be adding on the dips. I'm going to do that wisely here with not too much size so we can take advantage of this one, but I'm looking at wetting my beak possibly at 558, 559. Ooh. Anything you got before we set up the lesson?
No, just wet and beaks, brother. Just wet and beaks, dipping toes, and then that's all we do. No, we can head back into the lesson, Sharif. Shortly, we just have a good question: is Disney a good buy? I mean, Nelson Peltz is no longer on the board. We don't know what's going on with Disney. We don't know why they're spending a lot of money on streaming. And it's not really working. Disney Plus, I don't know. I can only watch Avengers so many times, and so I don't know if it's a good buy. Maybe wait for a couple good quarters of reporting to come in. I wouldn't try to grab the bottom on this one, but it is Disney. Like I guess the theme parks are just absolutely money printing machines. Yeah. So hey. Again, once they get their act together, CEO's name's not coming to my mind right now. There's a Bob Iger. There we go, Bobby I. And that's it. So, but yeah, other than that, we're off to the lesson with Sharif, guys.
Yes, sir. All right. We are talking about average true range and using ATR to basically gauge these realistic profit targets. Let's talk about it. So, ditch that one-size-fits-all profit target setup that you've been using. Today, we'll explore how the average true range, ATR for short, can help you set realistic intraday profit targets based on real-time market volatility. So let's just talk about it super quick. What's the problem with having fixed targets? If there's no problem, why look for a solution? Well, imagine setting up a daily profit goal of $100. You often hear the Katina man say, look, we're at one-time daily goal. We're at two-time daily goal. This, that, and the other. So say yours is $100, all right? Sounds good, right? But what if, number one, the market is super volatile, offering you a chance for much bigger gains? So what that 100 on the day is actually small potatoes. How about if the market is calm, making that $100 price target a little unrealistic? There are no 2 days are alike. Fixed targets, this is the problem with fixed targets. They can leave you frustrated or tempt you to overtrade because your beak wetters are not taking into account market conditions. There it is. Come to the rescue, average true range. It's got a solution. So your intraday volatility meter, that's what it is. Average true range is your intraday volatility meter. Here's how to use it to set realistic profit targets. One, you calculate your target. So instead of using a fixed number, use the average true range to create a dynamic target that adjusts to daily volatility. Here's a simple formula, okay? So for your long entry, let's just say you're trading, well, before we get to the example, let me just talk about the formula. So your entry price, let's say it's $50, okay? Let's say the ATR is 2 on that day. So it would be your entry price, $50, plus 2 multiplied by whatever multiplier you want to use. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about this multiplier, but the multiplier should take into account the specific market conditions on the day. Again, if the market is awfully volatile and you see ATR in the general market maybe 2, 3, or 4, why would you have an ATR of 1 if you're trading a Mag 7 name, for example, that's directly correlated to the market? So your multiplier in this scenario has to be reflective of the market. Now that's going to take some experience on your part, and that's why you got to back test this entire strategy to see what multipliers work best on what days. So that's if you're long entry. The short entry, exact opposite. Your entry price minus the ATR multiplied by, your multiplier, factor, whatever you want to call it, okay? The factor or the multiplier that you choose is important. It basically should delineate your risk tolerance based on your strategy on the day. So a higher factor aims for larger but less frequent profits, while a lower factor targets smaller, more frequent gains. Let's go with an example here, though. So in this example, we just kind of gave it, though. Let's say you buy a stock at $50. Your ATR on the day is 3. You know that just by looking at your ATR. So you decide to use a factor of 1 because you're kind of novice to this whole thing, right? For a moderate price target. So what would your calculation be like? It's going to be 50, okay, plus 3 multiplied by that 1, which obviously gives you 53. So if you're getting in at 50, should be looking at taking profits at 53. Volatility, though, is important here, and it should influences your ATR reading as well as your multiplier, though. So imagine on another day, the ATR for that same stock that you bought at $50, this time is not 3, it's 1. So the market's much more subdued on that day. So this is how your entry is going to be. It's going to be 50 plus 1 multiplied by 1. You're getting your beak wet for that profit taker at around 51, okay? The target is lower due to the lower volatility, reflecting a calmer market where the bigger price swings that you would have got on that 3 ATR day are less likely. So what are the benefits of using average true range as your gauge for profit taking? One, it sets up realistic expectations. Especially if you're more new, you don't really know where, today I should expect, this type of reward or this type of, or I have to risk this amount on this particular name. You're going to get that with more screen time, but you can be more conservative when you start. So your expectations, you should set targets based on what the market can typically deliver that day, reducing your frustrations. There's also an element of adaptability to this strategy. So your targets adjust to changing volatility. So no 2 days are the same on the market. If they are, that's the exception, not the rule. This allows you to capitalize on the opportunities in different market conditions. But there's also an important element of risk management involved here. So since targets are based on volatility, they can help you avoid overextending yourself and even over trading in these more volatile markets. So if you've got something off which to base it, an objective level based on the intraday volatility on the day, I think that helps. And remember, guys, ATR, by no means foolproof. It is, by definition, a historical measure, right? Not a guarantee. What does that mean? That means it's reflective of past price action. It tries to put you in the situation of being able to gauge future price action based on past, but we all know that never to be always the case. And you should also combine average true range with other price analysis tools and other technical analysis tools as confirmation before entering or exiting the trade. And don't be afraid, guys, to adjust your targets intraday if the ATR shifts. And you should be obviously accounting for that shift. So hope everybody prints up multiple storms and does really well. All right, so we took a bit of a piece off there, Joe, on INDO. We're looking for this one to break 60s because had a lot of trouble with 60s, as you can see here from the previous beak wetter. So INDO in play. SMCI just found its footing at VWAP. Looking good over here. Double bottom candle at around that 46.25. And here we go, 47s again. This is the first candle to make a new high since this candle over here at a quarter after the hour. So let's see if we can get that rounded bottom. And let's see if VWAP acts as a level of support on the day for SMCI. Good look.
Yeah. Great look there, and great lesson from Sharif, because we all know that the average true range and implied volatility, historical volatility, all reflects kind of identical future price movement, past price movement, and that is really key to option selection, right? So when the ATR is on the rise, with that comes higher volatility, and with higher volatility comes increased options premium, right? So whether you're a seller or a buyer, which you don't really want to be buying in high volatile areas, but just keep an eye on the ATR because that can really, really help out your trading. So that's great stuff from Sharif. And it's great because we can add everything implying everything into options, right? So everything flows nicely. It's a nice ebb and flow to everything, and that's what we're looking to do. So guys, as you can see, the market is still kind of trading in this $2 range here, $2.50 to $3 range. There's nothing crazy going on. The semis are absolutely buzzing. We had ARM Holdings that was trading higher. Now we're up about 0.3% on AMD, and we're still at about 3.5 on Nvidia. So the semis are really strong, guys. And you know what's kind of dragging the market is XLC and the discretionaries, right? They're not overly strong, but those guys can rebound at any given moment. We're still short Amazon. We got a good thing. We got a good entry on this, and I'm just going to touch on Amazon real quick. And we're going to go over about like kind of risk to reward scenarios on why you want to cut trades and why you always want to kind of look for a better entry and not hold on to things. So as you can see here, guys, I entered a short here, selling into support. My stop is VWAP, right? So I need a little bit larger of a move to get about a 2-to-1 or so on this trade. I look for it. I should have had this entry here, which would have been really nice. We would have been sitting pretty there. But we didn't take it. Again, we sold the bottoms, and I'm like, it's not working. It's not doing what I want to do. So stop is VWAP as well. But this is really key. And this is when me and Sharif were laughing. Third time's a charm, and it truly is. So this is why. Look at my risk to reward on this when I have a better entry, right? So like now I have almost a better, not almost, I do have a better price. But my RVR is substantially better, especially if I'm using VWAP as my out, right? So as you can see, we took a little bit of a stab paper cut here, and then about just under an R loss here. But as you can see, we have a tighter risk to reward, which allows us to give us a 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 on the trade, right? And that's exactly what you're looking for. So don't fall in love with any one position, right, guys? Just get out of it. If your thesis isn't planning out how you want it to, then that's fine. There's always going to be another entry, and you guys will hear me repeat that a lot, that there's always going to be somewhere you can get in and get in at a better price. All these guys know that stuff, and that's, I think, really key to some longevity in trading is just always improving that risk to reward. Hey, how can I be one, as the boys in the back say, Wayner, how can you be 1% better every day? And that's what we're looking to do, is just try to become a little better each and every day, Sharif.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool. And here's how it works. Complete the evaluation program by meeting the profit targets. Once you succeed, you trade the pool's capital, which gives you the ability to trade up to $260,000 in buying power. The best part is that you keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm takes all the risk. It's the ultimate way, whether you're a beginner or a professional trader. So go check out tradethepool.com. I went over to the website and it looks awfully promising. Scan that QR code on your screen. I don't see a QR code, but it's okay. Or go into the description of the link and get the link there. So shout out to the good folks at Trade the Pool. So the good look there. Keep an eye out on SOBR because this one is holding 8, and I really like the 8 level because of this consolidation area here. So we're gonna keep a lookout right now on Trade the Pool, or not Trade the Pool, on SOBR, looking for this one to hold up at around 8. work its way back into the volume weighted average price. But this is kind of breaking my rules a little bit here, so I'm going to hold off on taking this trade. I like to look at 8, but I have a rule with these small cap gappers. I don't take them long south of VWAP, and I don't take them short north of VWAP. Going long here breaks my rule. I have one exception to that rule, and that's trading these small cap gappers as a range trade rather than a breakout trade if they are south of VWAP. So what does that mean? That means if I got in at 8, I'd have to literally get out at 9. I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. No, I'm kidding, of course, because I'm trading it as a range. So I'll look to basically weasel my way if this one can get above $9, knowing full well that by waiting to get up into 9, I'm giving up a lot, obviously, of profits. But that is my problem, not yours. So going to keep my eye out on this one. SOBR up 125%. Not a light day for SOBR. INDO, I'm continuing to hold on to this trade. Well, namely, for a couple of reasons. One, I wet my beak out on some profits, so I'm holding a small amount of shares on this name. And number 2, it's putting in higher lows. And it's basically respecting that 20 exponential moving average on the 5. Again, the other side of that coin is, so that's the bullish side. The bearish side is it's had a lot of trouble holding above that $0.50. And if that $0.50 is going to be, the line in the sand for the shorts to try to defend their position, well, then that probably spells trouble for me, especially now because I'm out of the money and it's coming down into my entry. So I'm going to keep my eye out on this one. SOBR, let's see what this one does.
Hey. Yeah, beautiful stuff. I'm just over here looking out at XLC and why this market is kind of trading lower. And it's XLC, it's Google, and it's Meta that is dragging the market down. So we're down about 1% here on XLC, and that has some influence on why this market is absolutely chopping around and not doing much right. You got the semis moving higher, and then you got these other big mega caps that are bringing the market down too. So that's why you see that kind of push and pull in the market, and we really have, well, actually, sideways is the direction. So maybe for all those 0 DTE players, maybe look to play a condor on this sideways price movement, because that's what we do. We play condors when price is moving sideways. When we have no definitive direction and we can't put on a bias trade or any form of directionals, look to open up the toolbox and the tool bag and look to take into some more trades. And that's the power of options, just being able to trade multiple strategies using options, all right? So I think that's a look there, guys, on why this market is kind of chopping around, not doing too much, is you want to look at these sector ETFs and see what everybody's up to. I mean, XLF, the financials are pretty weak today too. We failed to break this top, this all-time high. We rejected pretty heavy on that, so that can have some influence on the current market sentiment as well. And here we go. Like, Google is still continuing to the downside, not down an extreme amount here. Just down about 1 1/10 there, which is okay, still totally healthy. And they had that probe going into them. They were SEC's talking about splitting up Google and all that type of stuff, which is
Man, they're going after everybody.
They're going after everybody. Yeah. So they want money.
Who to go after next.
They don't know who to go after, but I mean, their pockets are deep there, right? So I think Google will be just fine. You can't really break up Alphabet like that. It's going to cost a hefty penny in order to do so, but they're doing it because they don't want monopolies and stuff like that, and that's totally fine. But hey, that's okay. But as you guys can see here, we'll pull up Google on our chart. And it's dragging the market down with it. That's why XLF is a little weak. So again, when these mega caps are really weak, just look. Don't try to fight the market. Employ a little bit different strategies here. I don't know why we're still loading here. That's okay.
Amazing.
Ooh.
That's
okay.
yours, my man.
Hey, what do we got?
That's yours, my man.
Oh, hey.
I don't have to go like this no more.
So hey, look. We get the earpiece now. We got the earpiece now, so we're having a good time.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Hey, I was there. But now I have Ram in my ear, I think.
Well, that's why, exactly. It's a blessing and a curse.
That's it. So, yeah, okay.
Right?
But hey, that's so much.
Ram.
She was trolling me with Blake Griffin the other day, so it was fun. So, and guys, just look at Meta here. I don't know why these aren't loading here. Maybe we'll pull up Sharif's chart while my things load. Meta.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll look at Sharif's chart here and just look how the communication sector is moving. It's really weak. And when you have and I've said it, multiple times throughout the day, when you have this push and pull, this is what happens, right? We chop around a little bit and we're off to a Dara.
Are we? Oh, no. I
No.
was telling Ram to point
Oh,
at my.
see, this is
my
why.
bad. See,
Hey,
this
this
is why.
Look,
this
it's
is
in
why-
here. This is why you need it. This is why you should hook this up
Yes.
ASAP. I'm not too sure where my data is in loading on this stuff, but that's okay. We'll just pull back AMD, and we're
Tanking. The entire market
is absolutely
It
tanking.
really except Nvidia and Tesla.
Exactly. So again, the semis holding this market up. And one thing that I like here, Sharif, in AMD
Sir.
is that you can see the weakness in the pullbacks on AMD after we broke VWAP and we made those kind of hourly highs and we broke those pivots and that low volume, right? So we have diverging volume on the move down, which is really good. So we like to see that. On those pullbacks, we like to see a decrease. When a stock's moving higher, we like to see a decrease in volume on the pullbacks. That can just give us more conviction within the trade that, hey, we're going to trend a little bit more today. And that's exactly what AMD and the semis are doing. They're just holding their levels, and they're holding them really strong. The market is selling. We got the Qs trading below VWAP, which is really good. Well, actually, good depending on whatever side of the trade you're on, but it's chopping around. But you can see that AMD and Nvidia are holding. I don't know why I'm not getting any data on my stuff, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll manage it. And look, it's just holding. I mean, still up 3 1/4 on Nvidia, and AMD is holding these levels too, which we really like to see on AMD, Sharif.
Yes, sir. I'm looking to short on Disney. So we just broke above the 10 exponential. So Disney's down 2 3/4.
Okay.
So we just popped up nicely here for the first time, breaching the 10 exponential. I'm also eyeing that 20 exponential. And on my 5-minute chart, that is, not on the one. And that 20 exponential is a little bit above that $0.75. Let's see what we do with the $0.50 here, because we did technically breach that 10 exponential, but it looks like to be a bit of an inverse hammer candle right now, or topping tail candle, so to speak. Now, if I get in here, it'd be an easy out. It'd be like the break of this high over here above, I want to say 63 or thereabouts. So I don't need to be first into this trade, but I'm definitely interested in getting short now that the market is looking a little bit negatory.
Yeah, I tried
We've
restarting
got,
it, but-
I think we can realistically weasel down into I believe 20,100. We're putting in lower highs in the future. The reason I'm even looking at that is I'm just trying to gauge what some of these larger cap names are going to do here. So that's what we'll look at. So right now, short Disney. Where am I short? 49s. We're going to look to get in maybe, or wet our beak maybe at the third of a dollar, quarter of a dollar. We'll see exactly what we get there, and we're going to put the out in the high 60s. So if we get up into that position, I want no smoke on this one, and we'll look to set up a little bit differently on this one. So that is the look right now. We're going to put in our out on said Disney trade here to get out in the low 70s, high 70s, and we're going to wet our beak possibly at $0.25 or something like that. So we'll put that there, and we'll see what the situation is. Now let's flip back into the other trade that we've got, INDO. Where am I? I'm 3 pennies out of the money on this one, but I'm holding baby shares. The stop is already in place. I'm starting, though, guys, to see something is afoot here with this 40 penny area. How many times are we going to make lower highs but not lower lows on a closing basis at $5.40? No, this is the level I'm talking about. This is interesting because you're getting breaches of that 540, but look at that. Every single closing print north of that 540, that is, of course, after 1210 when we printed the low there. So I'm going to keep my eye out on INDO. I'm not really holding that many shares for it to affect me, but definitely interested in where I could add. And the area right now that I'm looking at adding is possibly 5 1/4. And we're already getting a breakdown here of 540, but not on a closing basis. So going to continue to watch that. What's my Disney situation over here? Yeah, we're a few pennies out of the money, but I'm not risking too much over here. So if it makes a new high, definitely going to get out without a big hit because we got in at a really good area here on Diz. But that's the situation. Also, I should let you know that Donald John Trump has found one hell of a seller at $19. How many times are we going to weasel up into 19 then get rejected? So there's clearly something afoot here with $19 on DJT. But let me show you something else. We're putting in these higher lows so we could get that flat top breakup. This is an ascending wedge where we had that big boy move into 18, then incrementally higher low with all the while that same flat top 19-ish right there. So we'll see if we can get that break above 19 on DJT. The way I trade this is I set up on a dip. So as you can see, the dips, when they get a little deeper, they do bounce off the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. So if you want to, possibly get into that, that's interesting there as well. SMCI right back above that $47 area, now looking to go above 47.5. We know the high of the day is about $1 from north of where we are here. 48.49 is where that look is. So I'm going to pack my patience there. We don't have to set it up today. I mean, we can set up tomorrow, because that's going to require me to talk for like another half an hour. So I don't think we need to do it right now.
We don't got to do that right now.
Yeah.
Hey, we're having some.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we're having some people. We'll give Sharif a little breath there as we set some stuff up. But we're a little technical difficulties here on P Pro, but that's okay. We'll get through them. We're just going to look at the sectors and what the overall market is doing here. Again, so as you can see, we're flat. We're flat on the day. The market isn't really doing anything overly crazy, and that's expected when you're coming into these big data prints, right? We know JP is data dependent, so he's going to wait. We're going to see what happens in the overall market with those, because these are some key readings that he's obviously always looking at to determine where he's going to go in the near future with the rate cut. And I don't think he's in much of a rush to cut too fast or anything, and which is reasonably so, because he doesn't want to end up in the exact same spot that he was in before. And that's what we were talking about last week too, Sharif, with the dock workers and stuff. And even though JP has no influence on what goes on with that strike, it's in his best interest to get those deals done. So we're looking at that and what the overall market's going to do. We have, I heard Neil mention it earlier today, we're having an inside day, and we're doing exactly that. If we're not going anywhere, and the Qs have been lagging the SPY. So if we get any good prints here, we get those good data prints, we can expect this market to catch a flame up under it and continue to the top side, especially if we break 493.33. There can definitely be a push for all-time highs on the Qs. So after that, we'll take a look at some more sector ETFs, but first, ADERA.
Time to check back into the world of crypto right now here. Last time we looked here around 10:30 a.m. Today, we're going to take a bit of a look at some other stories, including one coming out here of Europe. Actually, we have heard a lot of sometimes about the SEC and crypto regulations. Today, we're going to be talking about stuff going on in Europe with the European Securities and Market Authority, the ESMA. 21 Shares, which is a Swiss-based exchange-traded product provider here for crypto names. They're basically calling here on the ESMA to establish a regulation standard for incorporating crypto into the UCITS, which basically allows it to be a transferable security fund. So 21 Shares, if you're not familiar, they have their own ETF for Ethereum. They also have an ETF for Bitcoin in tandem with ARK, so Kathy Wood's ARK Invest. So interesting note there, basically saying that there is a problem that Germany and Malta allow this UCITS conversion, but other countries in the EU do not. So basically calling for unity. Interesting little EU story here for 21 Shares and for the world of these ETFs. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, usually at 10:30 we look at the daily chart. Today, I wanted to take a look at the 5-minute chart for Bitcoin. We've got a little bit of a rounded bottom forming here with some clear support at this 63.5 levels. So let's see if we can continue to push higher here. Next level of resistance that I'm seeing in the 5-minute could be potentially the 63.9 area. Then let's see what we do at 64.1. High of day right now looks like it's going to be just below 64.5. So let's see if we can make a new high of day here. Pretty obvious support, like I said here, that 63.5 with even a bit of a resistance flip from earlier in the day. Let's see how this all unfolds in the world of crypto as we head into the rest of the afternoon, guys.
Thank you very much, ADERA. Killing it on the crypto segment. All right, we're working down here on Disney. All right, nice. I just looked over to the Katina, man. We were having a conversation while ADERA was dropping hotlines. I was like, what's going on with Disney, man? I mean, did they make the Joker movie? Katina was like, no, that's Warner Brothers, but it's a sympathy play. Because, well, if, movies in general, and more specifically, superhero movies are not being received, well, there's going to be some sympathy move with that as well. But from what I'm hearing, I don't know what you heard, Joe, if you even heard anything, but I'm hearing people were walking out of the theater, bro. I saw videos on my favorite social media platform, TikTok. People were walking out of there. There was videos of dudes walking out of the movie, mid-movie, dude. about that. So I didn't say nothing. I didn't see nothing about it, but
I haven't seen the movie myself, but I heard it's kind of leaning more towards that musical aspect, like a musical, right? So some people don't want to go see a musical with Joker. I mean, what's this Lady Gaga's in it and stuff like that.
You're saying the same thing that Ram is saying in my ear, word for word. That's spliced out. That's happened.
Yeah,
what are you guys conspiring?
Yeah, hey, maybe I don't got the earpiece in yet, but great minds think alike apparently. So Ram will be saying stuff in my ear shortly. So
we got to get to Dara though. Dara's got something for us at the big desk.
There we go.
The news on Disney, from what I'm seeing, and basically what is confirmed here by a bit of a volume spike to the downside as this news came in, we did have around 12 p.m. Hurricane Milton being classified now as a Category 5 hurricane. So Hurricane Milton heading through Florida. This is the second hurricane in recent weeks that Florida is facing. Of course, the first being Hurricane Helene, which also hit North Carolina and some of these other southern states. So that's what I'm seeing here as the potential catalyst for Disney. The Joker Folie à Deux movie, definitely not a good look for the state of cinema. Actually, the first superhero movie apparently to get a D rating from Cinema Score. So Joker Folie à Deux, also not good news. But from what I'm seeing, what's been moving Disney has been the Category 5 designation for Hurricane Milton, because we do have, of course, Orlando and that Walt Disney World theme park, guys.
Yeah, it kind of goes without saying, Joe. We're hoping everybody stays safe out there.
Absolutely.
What Helene, or however it's being pronounced, it was an absolute disaster, man. I've seen a lot of stuff there, and it breaks my heart to even see it.
Absolutely.
So we're going to send our good wishes, obviously, to everybody. Stay safe, and you know, what else can we really say?
You know what? It's really tough. One of my buddies actually lives out in Florida now. He delivers boats and et cetera, and he was sending me snaps of his house in Florida after the hurricane hit. The water is he has 3 feet, almost a meter of water in his house, right? So, and the insurance is absolutely going crazy. So they're apparently, it's a whole nother world over there with insurance in the South, because everything is just getting destroyed.
Can I tell you something? 60 Minutes did a hot take on this. This dropped, I think, yesterday or the day before. It came on my favorite social media platform, TikTok. So here's a look, dude. So back in, I forget which hurricane it was a big one last year. The adjuster is a third-party adjuster hired by the insurance company. They go out and they do all the assessments. This guy, he submitted like maybe a few hundred assessments last year to the same insurance company, because they hired him, right?
Yeah.
And the insurance company adjuster, the internal insurance company adjuster, would remove certain things from this guy's report. Let me give you an example. This guy said that one of the insurance, or the coverage, was you had to pay this person out about $250,000, a little bit less, 230-something thousand. You know what that internal insurance adjuster adjusted to? $15,000 and change. Just rinsed it, and they did it with like
5%.
Obviously to buff up that.
That's insane.
The balance sheet for investors and shareholders, and that kind of breaks my heart, because that's on the back of hardworking people, man. And 60 Minutes, guys. Have a look at that.
And you know what I mean with the insurance? When it goes insurance, like it's like you never use it, right, Sharif? Like you maybe need it once or twice in your lifetime or anything like that. But when you go to use it, they are giving you a hell of a time on absolutely everything, trying to short you on every absolute penny. So guys, just make sure you guys go over your policies and everything like that, and cross your T's and dot your I's and stuff like that. Hey, maybe the insurance plays. Let's go over and look at some insurance plays. Guys, so if you know any good insurance plays in the market, let us know in the chat, and we'll take a look. And then we will not short those guys at all, because at the end of the day, they are always going to make money. And guys, Amazon, we got my P Pro back here. And we stalled out a little bit, so unfortunately I didn't get out exactly break even, but it wasn't too far. We held the bottom here. We got out the majority of our position, and we had about 30-40% here at this point, and we cut it break even, which is exactly what we want to do. It can go back towards the downside, and that's totally fine. But we got the semis still buzzing. AMD's making new highs, so we're looking to maybe. We don't want to chase it up here, considering where we are, maybe at some potential resistance, but it is lagging Nvidia, and it's ready to pick up steam, and it's ready to catch up, because this thing is an absolute monster, and it has been a monster. Last Friday, Sean and I were talking about it, up 5%, and multiple people, even Wayne in the back, is like, yeah, a lot of people are saying AMD, this thing is strong. It's going to be number 2 in the chip race. So, and it's still 25% off its highs, so off its all-time highs. So there's still definitely room for this stock to run. wait for it to maybe come in a little bit if you're looking to play some long-term positions in it, or maybe look to play the all-time high break, right? So you're going to wait a little bit before you enter this stock. But as you can see, unfortunately, we're not in this one, but it is absolutely buzzing to the top side. We're now going to go for high a day.
Kidding me?
Yeah. Wow. Which is insane, around 172.70s, and I wouldn't be surprised if it went high a day and then additionally higher, right? So I wonder what Nvidia is up to. We'll take a look at Nvidia as well. Still up on the day, about 3.5%, a little bit higher than that, 3.75% there. So this thing is strong. It's done its move a little bit already, and we are kind of in the lunchtime hour. So expect a slower grind on this one. And that's okay, because if you're in around VWAP or when it double bottomed here, then you're sitting pretty, right? Suntan City, sitting pretty, and you have a really good position. So hold on to that one. Nvidia is always a buy, and I think from a multiple standpoint, it's still relatively cheap to the overall market. So look to hold on to that one. And if you get any rebound here in the discretionary aspect, like Amazon's rebounding right here now as well too. And we'll take a look at Tesla to see what Tesla's up to, because it did sell off a little heavy earlier in the session, but again, that thing can recover at any minute. It is a little bit weaker, which is okay. Still down about 2.1% there, which is totally fine. So yeah, that's just what I'm looking at. We're gonna keep an eye on the overall market, Sharif, and see where we go from here, brother.
Man. All right, we're still in that Disney short, guys, about the $0.50. Wet my beak here at the third of a dollar. Now it's moving up back into the $0.50. So I'm gonna keep my eye on this one. Now, the situation is, I'm kind of biased on this one, so I'm thinking, you know, this is probably a good opportunity to reload near the $0.50, because it keeps wicking up into the $0.50, and it's met with a wall of selling. Wow, and we just dropped just like that. Didn't even have an opportunity to add there, right into 40s. We go on DIS, Big Bobby I. He ain't happy today properly. All those options contracts that he's got. No, we're kidding. Of course, guys, in case you're wondering what I know, right? You like that?
I was going to say that. That's what I'm saying. Uh-oh. Here we go. Uh-oh. Let's
who's
go.
back in the chat? Big Spile. We miss you, brother. We miss you. Big Kyle Burdett, man. He's taking some time off. We missed you, Big Kyle, last week. I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty, Big Kyle.
That's his go-to.
That's for whatever reason.
That's his go-to line.
Yeah,
what's up with that? You got to fill me in. I feel like it's I'm in the back burner with that one there. There's an inside joke Burdett hasn't told me, hasn't filled me in yet. So
yeah, Burdett, he's the OG, man. Big Spile, we miss having you around, brother. You missed Adam last week. He was in Toronto. He was on the show, right? And he was dropping hot lines, talking about algos. We missed you. We wanted to have you and Adam on at the same time so the banter could, take place. But that's all right. We're going to still wait for you up in these parts, Big Spile, waiting for you to get those kids the requisite passports and make your way up north of the border. Just be nice to the border guards, Big Spile, because it's a big and from this country. You know, they'll quick to ban you in this country too. By the way, they don't like.
Is he from the south? Is he from the south?
He's from Penn.
And
he's not too far away
Pennsylvania.
From us right now. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. Bob Karen, MYTE. He's yelling at me over here. That means it's important. That means I got to do it right now. So we're going to look at MYTE. Let's have a look. What are we going to remove? We're going to remove EVGO. What is this one up to? Oh, that's the mother of all rounded bottoms. What is this?
Jeez.
Okay, let's find out what the situation is on MITE. I'm going to do a pun, but Adara's right there. It would not be fair. It's not a mighty day for MITE, Adara. There it is, 699. Knocking the door of 7 there, guys. All right, 60% up for MYTE. It's about a $600 million market cap with about 10 million shares traded on the day, guys. What's the float and the short float? We're going to shout out Trade Ideas and the crew there with the NOS boss MYTE. Let's find out the situation. So we're talking about a 19.4 million share float and a negligible short float, sub 1%, according to Trade Ideas. So number one, I want to see what we do, $7, because there's been multiple topping tails rejecting off 7. Now let's do our due diligence here and look at the daily on this. Okay, so obviously we're coming from, these higher situations during the pandemic time, September 2021, we were at $30. Obviously, it's been rejecting the 200 exponential. You'll see that on the day. Now it's above it, and it's been above it multiple times in the recent past. I was gonna call this a former runner, but it's not really. This is like the biggest outlying day it's had in multiple years. Let's go to the weekly here, quickly here on this one. Yeah, so we're coming for multiple highs, guys. We breached this high over here. So this high is around 6.25. We're above that. Now we're looking at 7, obviously, because it's a whole dollar. But if we get above 7, I'm looking at 7.75, possibly even that 8.5 to take into account this area over here. So MYTE just found its spot on my side chart over here. So we're going to keep this in focus, see what we can do with the mighty might. Let's flip back over here to see what Diz is up to. We're still south of the $0.50, and I'm unsure how to play this here, whether to add to it or to wait. So I'm gonna think about this one for a sec. Day trader cut, Fed Bowman at 1. All right, we will have a look there. Obviously, Adara at the big desk. She'll bring us anything market moving. No question about that. You can rest assured. What are you looking at, Joe?
Hey, we had actually our day trader cut mentioned AYT, and I said in the chat it's a big no on AYT. We don't like that. It's like a nickel stock. Do you guys say nickels in the States? I'm not sure. So a nickel on that one. We don't like that stock really. But I just want to point something out on AMD here, which can lead to a potential top. And you see how this candle is isolated? And it's kind of pivot, kind of put in like a reverse hammer, whatever you want to call the doji, kind of around these highs. So if we break this to the top side, then yeah, I can see us go for a push for around 172 and try to make a new high a day. But also be aware of these candles for potential pullbacks as well too. Those are really key in the volume price analysis signals. So when you correlate volume and price, the good thing about it, there's no isolated volume signature on that. So we really like that. So again, this thing has been absolutely strong, and we're going to assume that it's going to continue its strength. We're not going to go against that or anything, but that's just a good look there on AMD, I think. So just be aware of a pullback if you're looking to short it. I don't know if that's going to be an entry for you or any form of signal, but there's just something to keep an eye on. And guys, it's the same sector that's kind of just dragging this market down here, and that's XLC. Meta is weak, and I mean, Meta has been really strong for the past couple of weeks too, so we can kind of expect this, and this is nothing crazy. It's not even down a full % right now, so essentially it's nothing on the overall move that it's been doing, and that's exactly what we want to see, right? So it's been a healthy pullback here, and we can see some continued strength in Meta, right? Because we got the Orions out now, coming out soon. Am I getting yelled at? To Adara, and I am getting yelled at. So we'll go straight to Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by WorkSport. Introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport is a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, WorkSport, great stuff from Adara as always there. We love it. So here's just a look on Meta here from a daily perspective, and you can see the massive bull run that we've been on here since their that's an earnings. So against a dividend payment, and I remember Mark a couple quarters ago implemented a dividend payment or increased it either or on the stock, which absolutely sent this thing skyrocketing as well too. So paying back the shareholders we always like. And you know what, I'm looking for a split on this stock in the near future. We don't want it to get too expensive, and we would like to get our hands dirty or wet our beaks on this one because we like Meta, and Mark's just always going to be on the top of his game employing groundbreaking technology like he has with the Orion glasses, right? Those things are absolutely phenomenal, and it's only a matter of time until companies like Apple is what I'm looking for. They come out with something groundbreaking as well too, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Apple has on front of those, get those Oculus a little bit smaller maybe, I think, on Apple. And who knows? Because Mark's teamed up with Ray-Ban, so who knows what the boys over there on Apple, Cook, Timmy C, and the other guy, I forget his name, I can't think of it right now, are going to cook up, right? So always expect them to do something because what Meta's done with the Orion is absolutely fantastic. So we'll continue for this stock to rise. Just be aware that it may be pricing these things into perfection, and then you can see coming the next report, if everything doesn't live up to its expectations, maybe you can see a potential down move on the report. Just speculating at this point, right? But keep an eye on for that because when we do price things into perfection and we get a slight miss, kind of like Nvidia on the last report, you do see some pullbacks. And with these strong stocks, you absolutely look to buy into those. What do you think, Sharif? You buying dips on little weak reports or anything like that with the strong boys?
Right now, I'm not buying any Mag 7s. So I've only got 3 Mag 7s in my portfolio. The largest one, Apple, far and away. I have some pre-split Nvidia that I haven't added to, and I have some Tesla from the. Well, I'm not going to say. I never say my price, but. I have some Tesla. It's by far, far, far smaller than my Apple. Far and away, my biggest position by far. So I'm
pre-split.
done. I'm done. Yeah,
But I mean, pre-split Nvidia, let's go. That's big.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
All right, I'm just gonna tell you exactly how many shares I have. I have 5 shares.
But now you got 50.
pre-split,
Now you got 50.
yeah.
And now you got 50. So
I have never added, never removed. I've totally forgotten about it, not touching that.
Good, that's good.
But what I'm looking at adding, though, Joe, are these non-Mag 7 names. So now I'm looking for electric vehicles because the EVs have just been beat up so much. I want to pick up what I feel to be good EV plays. I've picked one up.
like BYD and stuff.
No, I wouldn't touch BYD just because there's so much political headwind.
Warren
Warren
dabbled in that too, didn't it?
Yeah, it was Charlie's play. But
it was Charlie's play. Yeah, it was Charlie's play.
In any event, I learned my lesson with Li Auto, only because I still think Li Auto is a fantastic company, but it doesn't really matter what I think, man. The geopolitics are what they are.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
That's the situation.
And that's the name of the game, right? So Elon's fortunate that he's been classified as more than an EV guy, like more of a tech company and everything, and a software or data collection company, right? And that's kind of what they refer Elon. And I remember when Tesla was selling, there's a little bit of weakness in Tesla that like, oh, is he just a car company? No, you never underestimate the man. He will always have a trick up his sleeve. He's been about robotaxi and autonomous driving for a long time. So yeah, just look, he's doing good. So look to own Elon, absolutely.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a big Elon fan. All right, guys, I think I'm going to get out of this Disney trade because it did take 92.50 decisively. So I didn't add here like I was anticipating, but here we go. If it breaks above 60, this is the area crest. And we also know that this is an area resistance level. We've tested it twice so far, and here comes the third attempt. But now we're putting in higher lows and kind of an inverse head and shoulder on the one, albeit it's just on the one. So it could absolutely be nothing, but I'm going to keep my eye on this one, looking for a possible move back into that level. What's the situation over here? So I did get caught in a downhaul. Fantastic here on SOBR. It is not my day, so it looks like we did break down 8.11 over here. I got a dip trade at 8.50. That's not going to work well, so I'm going to caught in a downhaul on this one right now. Definitely need to be careful with that one. Once it opens, I'll be looking to get out of that. So keeping my eye here on said Disney because it's working above that 60 penny area. Again, I think that is going to be my line in the sand. Don't want to really deal with the higher high situation. In fact, if it does work its way above there, I'll be looking at 60 pennies as possibly support now. That's if it takes it on decisive basis. So we'll keep tabs on that one. MYTE. I'm not sure why it's not updating on my chart. Let me just update it over here. MYTE, there we go. Okay, so now it's updating. Let me bring in the side chart and have a look at this bad boy, because this is still holding above the 10 exponential, even though, we kind of got into that $7 area, found a lot of resistance. So I don't want to be quick to look for shorts for this. I think it's probably a pay for short type situation, but if it does find its footing at the 10 exponential, maybe around that 6 2/3, 670, give or take that area, I'll be looking to take it back north. But good look right now on MYTE. Not one that I had eyes on, and for whatever reason, it's not loading up on my scanner. But I did change some of the settings on my scanner today, so I think I might have screwed something up. So we'll keep tabs on that. INDO back above holding. I should say that higher low situation, breaking above that 550 again. I did get stopped out for the remaining amount that I had on this one. We'll keep tabs on INDO. SRRK is the biggest percentage winner on the day, but it's, awfully consolidative, give or take a couple of moves over here during the midday. So that's my look on that, guys. SMCI looks maybe like it's destined to come back into the volume weighted average price, kind of putting in a rounded top at that 47.75. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successive red candles on the 5-minute, each with lower highs and lower lows, except this one over here. But good look. I'd like it possibly around 46.25, maybe 46. SMCI has been holding VWAP awfully well on the day. Good look for them. But I got to go back into this sober position and manage it, because it's not a good look here, Joe, because this thing is halted to the downside, and I'm long 55s, and we're halted at 11s. Let's find out what the tap is on SOBR. Currently, the tap, 811, exactly where we left it off. So nothing's changed there, but I'm going to be looking at getting the hell out of there once it's open, guys.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, those halt down, those volatility bands, you know what I mean, when they get triggered, hey.
Oh yeah.
See, that's part of it, right? So unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. Kyle Burdett says, Sharif, I've seen a bunch of Rivian trucks. Yeah, I've seen a couple of Rivians, and I mean, they look nice. You know
like
what
them.
I mean? So they don't look too bad. I mean, it's a fancy looking vehicle. So yeah, good. And guys, I just look at this, right? Like, we're gonna look at the overall market, and we're just gonna look at this sideways movement, right? Like this. So if you guys have put on your condors or anything like that, congrats to you. Hopefully you collected some premium throughout the day, because the volatility is starting to pick up. We're starting to sell a little bit here, but Meta is absolutely tanking, and it is sending the market to the downside. Something is going on in the communications today, and we don't know what it is, because these things are selling. Even still down on about 0.7% here, about 0.8. But it's moving. I've emphasized before that it's healthy and it's not anything to be overly too alarmed with. But you can just absolutely see this sideways price movement down about 0.5% on the Qs here, and we're just trading in this $2 range, right? We got the semis. Like, AMD is making new highs, right? As Meta's tanking. So talk about moving in totally opposite directions. And with AMD moving higher, I'm assuming that Nvidia is moving probably higher too. So guys, stay away from the overall markets if you're looking to trade the Qs or TQs, maybe, because it's just chopping around and you're not getting that breakout that you could potentially be looking for. And that's totally fine, because with that becomes, and we've been talking about it all day, is you can play something else like the sector. So XLC is to the downside. The semis, I'm sure SOX L. Actually, let's take now that I mention it, SOX L, and I opened this position because in my long term, because I seen that this thing was down about 54% off its all-time highs. And I'm like, why is this thing down so much, right? We got Broadcom in it. We don't know why is it AM? Yeah, there we go. So its top 3 largest holdings are Broadcom, Nvidia, and AMD. So once those start rolling, then absolutely that thing's going to be looking strong. So as you can see, the semis, this 3x leverage derivative, so 1% move equals a 3 on this ETF here, and it's pretty strong, right? And reasonably so. We got Nvidia and AMD moving strong. But we have Meta that is still making new lows, and it's continuing to make new lows. Let's see if it holds the bottom. And Sharif, I said, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. It's nothing to be alarmed about. It's totally healthy, and we expect this. Stocks need to breathe, especially strong stocks, if they want to continue to move to the top side.
No, agree completely with you on that. So I did get stopped out for a 50-penny loser on SOBR. So tough look there for me. I did okay on it initially, now highly negative, but now it is holding 8, funny enough. So we'll keep an eye on this one, zigging and zagging at that $8 level. Let's see what Disney is up to. So it did break that 60-penny area. Let's see if now it defends 60. So that's going to be what I'm looking at now. On DIS, it was whiffling and waffling at 60 with no end. So I was of the bias that there does seem to be a possible level of support here. We'll see if that is the case, or Disney wants to bleed a little bit more. It did work its way into the 20 exponential and is finding resistance here. So not going to give it that much room. So that is the look there. What else we got? Let's bring in some big tech names. Haven't looked at too much of these today. Obviously, the king of them all today, Nvidia, with that Nvidia AI conference starting today, and we'll have, I guess, speakers speaking tomorrow. By the way, today I did get the headline that CES Consumer Electronics Symposium, or whatever the hell it's called, in January. The keynote is going to be Jensen. Ooh. So Jensen obviously getting some love from the community there, and you know that I'm really unsurprised by that. So we're going to keep tabs on Nvidia, like we've been doing all day, because it is in place. So nothing really for me, to be quite honest with you, with these large caps right now. So gonna let that go. Looks like we are holding around 60 pennies here for Diz. So I'm gonna add over here on Disney and see what we get. And I'm gonna move my stop a little bit to account for that ad. So we're gonna wait at around like the high 40s or something like that on this bad boy. Not been my best trading day today, but that's all right. We'll look to do a little bit better with every trade that we take. So I see 60s as possible support. The market may not agree with me, and if that's the case, we'll get stopped out, Joe.
Hey, that's it. Yeah. So guys, you know what? We're gonna try to catch the falling knife here on Meta, and it seems to be working out a little bit. So we don't got too much, nothing crazy size-wise on this one, but this thing has just been slowly grinding to the downside. And then, hey, maybe now's the time that we get a little bit of a pullback. But as you can see, it's a steady, clean staircase pattern on this asset here that's continuously moving to the downside. But again, it's not like it's absolutely flushing. So there could be a little bit of a pullback. And if any form of bid steps in on this stock, it can absolutely recover back to VWAP. And when we take these trades, that's exactly what we're looking for, is we're going to look for this thing to recover back towards the volume-weighted average price. That's just our style, right? So if it doesn't, like we have a really tight stop on this, and if it breaks that low, then we're not going to try to fight this trend, right? We're catching the falling knife here on this, but it's not absolutely waterfalling. So we're looking like we can recover a little bit, hopefully, on this stock. And if we do, we're going to absolutely be a part of it, and that's a good thing. One thing I want to point out on the daily here, now that I'm looking at it, sorry, let's just see, like, look at this here, you know what I mean? And look at this up move that we've had on the stock. It's been absolutely a banger. It's been such a strong asset. I don't know, take this off here. And we're following this trend line here, right? So it's just a rough estimate of what the stock can be doing, forming in this maybe upper channel and stuff like that. So it's up here. So if you're looking at the Bollinger Bands or anything along those lines, you probably see that this is a healthy pullback within Meta. And now we are off to Adara.
We're going to take a look at the US dollar one more time in the afternoon. What I like to do is take a look at a different chart. So we looked at the daily chart this morning. Today we're going to take a look at the weekly. We know this was a pretty strong week for the DXY last week, breaking a 5-week downtrend and actually obliterating all of those moves to the downside. Let's see if we can hold up. Right now, starting this week on a slightly negative note. A couple things to note here with regards to the overall economy and the US dollar. Some things that I'm seeing economists and analysts note that could be a good thing for the DXY or the USD here is, unfortunately, we have the escalating conflict for the Middle East. Because of this, there are people viewing the DXY here, the USD, as a safe haven, so that could fuel some interest here in the US dollar. We know that we had 5 straight days to the upside last week as we had this this conflict and this tension escalating. However, there's also some notes with regards to the overall economy. We had Larry Summers saying on Friday that the Fed made, quote, a mistake with what they did with regards to the 50 basis point cut. We also have David Roche of Quantum Strategy this morning on CNBC saying that there's some instability that could be caused by this cut, saying that the economy, quote, does not need rock bottom interest rates. We also have the chief global strategist of JP Morgan saying that investors should be aware of risk in the current environment, saying that it's increasingly queasy that we still have a soft landing being priced in. So some concerns about the overall economy, despite that great look for the DXY. We know oil pretty strong here as well. So let's see how everything unfolds. But certainly an interesting time for these markets and for the DXY, guys.
Shout out to Adara. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate
Always,
that.
yeah. Great stuff always from Adara. We need that. Yeah, we need that. Those
Oh, yeah.
those news inputs all the time.
Absolutely,
For sure.
absolutely.
yeah,
Guys,
absolutely.
INDO is headed back to the north side here. This is an important area for Indo. 560 it's had trouble with all afternoon. It's been where I've been taking the outs out. Now we're working our way back there after holding that 5 1/3 area. Generally, I mean, like you could kind of make that the informal bottom of that area, so we'll pack our patience there. I got into Donald John Trump over here because it got into VWAP. I got into alert that it did weasel into the volume weighted average price. I'm not going to give this that much room. We're long 54s. We're at 50s right now. Let's see if this one wants to hold up at the volume weighted average price. DJT up 12.12, but certainly off that 19. 19 was a hell of a short for whoever took it because we kept whiffling and waffling at 19 to basically drop a nice 50 pennies. We'll see if VWAP wants to stop the bleeding. We last time around stopped at the 50. VWAP and the 50 right now are conflating. They're basically the same level at this moment in time. So we'll have to see if that is the level off which this wants to hold up. So keeping an eye on this one. Got stopped out of Disney again. Tried to take that 60 penny hold as a level that was formerly support. Now, what I gauged to be, was resistance. What I gauged to be support. Didn't give a you-know-what about what I thought. Stopped out. So tough day trading for me today, but that's all right. We're gonna keep going here, looking for this DJT area to hold up at around VWAP. So that's my look right now. I'm also seeing SMCI. Unsurprisingly, coming into VWAP again. We were talking about the rounded top that was taking place on this name when it got into that 47 3/4, and now I think we just dipped into 46 3/4. We're still well off the lows that we put in. Well, not the lows. I mean, local lows. They're at 46 1/4, about 50 some odd pennies, a little bit higher than that. So we haven't worked down to VWAP quite yet here on SMCI, but it's been a hell of a day for it, man. Wow. Looks like investors are awfully bullish on this name, dude, because, you know, there was a whole hit piece with the Department of Justice,
the
this,
probe,
that, the other.
the probe into them, and
Yeah, so that's the look there. What are you looking at?
Hey, man, we had to get out of this meta trade here. Unfortunately, we took a bad hit on it because it just continues to sell here. And you know what? There might not have been some bottoming signals, but I'm like, hey, meta's strong. Maybe not the best entry either. So unfortunately, we took a bad hit on this trade, but that's part of the game, right? We should have got out a little bit earlier, but that's okay. This thing is just continuing to lead to the downside, and there's no really specific news on it. It's just something that's healthy, and it's been my narrative of the day, right? We got the semis that have been really strong, and then we got the communications that are absolutely weak and causing this push-pull sentiment in the overall market. So I think day trader, somebody in the chat said that, yeah, just not a day to be playing the breakouts on the indices, and he's totally right about that. So maybe stay away from them. Look for things that are trending. We have AMD starting to pull in a little bit here in a healthy pullback, so nothing crazy going on from that. I don't know if we're going to look to take a second entry here on Meta, but maybe actually we are here now, I think. I'm kind of liking it. Well, I'm not, I think. We are. So, bang, we're in this. Well, maybe we were just a little bit earlier, but if we can get any pop towards the top side, we'll see if any buyers step in here, and then we can get that move a little bit higher. And there's Randy. Yeah, he's good. There's Randy. But yeah, no, good stuff, guys. I always like to have a little bit of fun there. So they're getting ready. They're getting ready to hype up for something. No, we're good.
No, it's just an ad read.
Okay, just a little ad read, and that's it, guys. So we're in this meta trade here now, looking for this little pullback. I mean, there's been no buyers stepping in on this stock. So for me to anticipate that there is going to be some, may not be the best look, but again, I'll put my money on some of these big boys any day to catch any form of bid and start moving to the top side, Sharif.
All right. Not a whole lot going on with me right now, watching as Diz comes right back down. MYTE looking to work its way right back up off that, let's call it the 650 dip, working its way up into 7. We know that it did have a bit of a resistance level with 7. I hope you have the animations because I don't. Okay. So trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, and capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data, instant trading, know where the market is moving before others with lightning fast data. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about e-signal. Charts that certainly change the game. You can customize and analyze the markets faster and your way, not the way that others show you. And there's better backtesting and scanning. You can predict the future by understanding the past. You've got to do charts analysis with that. Reliable real-time data as well, vis-a-vis e-signal. Up to the second, market info from hundreds of global markets. It's got everything you need all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, scan that QR code. Whoa, it's nice. It's on the screen. And check out the link in the description. Shout out to the good folks there at eSignal. Sean uses them and has been using them, according to him today, for the past 20 years. So if he's been using them for 20 years, there must be something they're doing that he likes. So shout out to him and shout out to eSignal. Absolutely killing it right now. All right, let's load up MYTE because that's the one I was talking about super quick before we jumped into the ad read. MYTE, which I do believe trades on the NASDAQ, and I am wrong. That's okay. MYTE. We'll see if it's on the New York. It is. All right, nice. On the New York it goes. So this one did dip into about 6.5. On my chart, I've got a couple of bottoming tail candles into that 6.5, but we'll keep an eye on this one. I got to tell you, I'm not really too exuberant to jump into this just because the volume is a little light on this one. You can see the volume certainly started coming in the later time of the day. I mean, what is that? What time is that? It's 12:20. Prior to that, we were, barely trading. You can just always look by the candles. You can see how sparse the candles are here and how, they don't really complete one another. Then when the volume kicks in, looks much more akin to what we're used to seeing on the chart. So keeping an eye there on MYTE, simultaneously got stopped out of Donald John Trump as it broke below that 1840 area. So DJT not holding the volume weighted average price, but I got to tell you, it didn't do it last time either. So we're still putting in higher lows. Last time we dipped into DJT, it was that 50 exponential, having me feel a little bullish here that VWAP and the 50 were intersecting, but it didn't really matter. Price action continued to come down. So let's see what it does at 18. Get it, Adara.
Watch out here for SNAL. This company trades on the NASDAQ. Their name is Snail. I'm not seeing any news on this, but this one is a small cap, just over $50 million market cap here. Float of around 7.65 million shares. And it's worth noting, insider owned, apparently 79.2%. So we know ARM was a 1.90% insider owned. So larger companies that have a larger percentage of insider owned are always worth watching. Again, we have almost 80% insider ownership here for SNAL as it makes new high of days with a relative increase in volume. Bit of social media attention, but again, no news. Also worth noting here, just a reminder, Feds Bowman started speaking at 1 p.m. Did not see any comments coming through from Feds Bowman, so I guess nothing market moving there that we've seen thus far. However, in about 10 minutes, we'll have comments from Feds Kashkari set to begin. Feds Kashkari can and has moved the market before, so I will definitely keep you posted if any comments come out there, guys.
All right, looks like the crash man is going to come in hot. I like that. Okay.
What did he say? He said something about when everything just dumped. What was it that he said? He was something.
Oh, goodness, I forgot.
Yeah,
there's so much.
Yeah, there's so much. Who knows what he's up to? Anyways, guys, Nvidia making highs of day, now up 4%, almost 4% on the day. This thing is just continuing to grind higher, and you know what? I'm back in Meta, and this is going to be my last attempt here, right? Because I don't know what's going on. We got Nvidia moving higher, and we got Meta selling off a little bit. So that's a little bit alarming. I'm looking for any form of rebound. As you can see, the spread on it is pretty hectic, right? So, well, actually not right now, but before it was pretty wide. So, hey, it's been a tough look here on Meta for the day, but that's what happens when you're getting into these higher price stocks. But Havana Woody in the chat, I know they have a position on DJT, so I've just been looking at DJT on the daily, and they want to sell some calls on that, so good luck. I mean, absolutely collect some premium while you're holding on to the long leg of the stock position. That's great, especially if I don't know if it's working in your favor or not, but even regardless, you're selling premiums all the way up here at 30, and you eventually keep selling them, then maybe you'll have enough, you'll collect enough premium where you can grab another handful of shares on that. So anytime you hedge your position like that, I really like those hedge positions, like callers and stuff like that. So a little bit more complicated when you're talking about callers, options callers and stuff like that. But really good look there, Havana, on the DJT and selling those premiums. We really like that. So keep doing what you're doing, and those things work. So here, Joe W., what are your thoughts on CCL for a long swing? Very bullish above 19. All right, Nick, we'll answer your questions, buddy, because we know that you're always in the chat. And hey, swing. I mean, if you're long on that, beauty, right? So always look for Carnival Cruise to, and it's not too far off the all-time highs, right? So a couple percentage points, double top tier. So it's not too far off the all-time highs, which is okay. So yeah, look for that swing there. I mean, if you break this pivot low, then maybe look to get out of your position. But if you continue to the top side and can potentially break this pivot high here, then you're sitting pretty in that position. So CCL, a nice cheap stock. I don't know if you want to leverage the position because it is relatively cheap, but hey, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're looking long on this, hey, I can agree with you on that one. What do you think, Sharif?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree with everything you had to say there. Joe, SNAL is really going here. Here comes 69s. 68's printing now is the high of the day. Adara just brought this to us. 62, 64% really going here. Good look for this name. I don't even know what the deets are, so let's just find out.
Inc. Yeah, and it's not moving like a snail at all.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, that of course. 7.6 million share float and negligible short flow. It looks like 0.5% of that is shorted. I want nothing to do with this stock until it comes down to 150 and holds up there. Neil's admiring my straw count over here, guys. And Adara was admiring it too. She's like, why do you always seem to have a full batch of straws? Like, you know, they whittle down to like 1 or 2, and then they'll get filled up.
And then you restock.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know who we have to thank for that? Ooh. Tim Hortons right over here.
Oh, Timmy H. Good old Timmy H.
Good people.
The good people over there at Tim Hortons restocking Sharif's honest.
They don't give me bad looks at all when I go and take a handful of that bad boy. All right.
Oh, guys.
I'm talking smack. No, I took another long here on Donald John Trump. Wet my beak 10 pennies. Let's see if this one wants to work up a little bit. We're long 40s. Here comes 55s. Where's VWAP? VWAP's right here. So this is a bigger position because I kind of tilted a little bit. So we're going to take a little bit out there. So I'm still holding quite a bit more. So we're going to see if we can weasel up a little bit more over here on Donald John Dang Trump. Let's see what the 65 penny, 60 penny area has to do. I mean, we did reject a little bit off there a couple of times. So I'm anticipating more resistance at 65s. Right there is your first area trough, another area trough over here. So we're going to keep a look there. Wow, that camera angle, Fabian and Raymer, and bro, you don't even know. They can get anywhere in this place. You know, anytime Neil's limping, they're getting him. Anytime, Rob's cleaning up or doing something, there you go. They're showing you their prowess right now. Right? I know, right? Say hi, Dara. You're kind of a little on cam there. There you go. There's you and I. We're doing the absolute moves.
The place is on lock, so there's no hiding. Like, we don't even know the angles that they're getting us from. So hopefully they're getting our good angles, Sharif, because they're all over the place. So
take it easy over there. Look, Neil's
got Neil. Come on, I didn't do him dirty like that. Dude, Neil's dirty like that, guys. Come on.
There's Brendo a little bit there, but they want to keep their job, so they're not going to get Brendo shot there. That's all good. No, I'm just joking, of course.
You're just gonna get Brendo. You got a fresh cut today. So
yeah, he's looking good. He's got a fresh cut. Always just like his thing.
Okay. Always clean.
Neil backing that up too. He's always got a fresh face. Yeah. All right, we're moving nicely here on Donald John Trump. We just took VWAP, guys. 65's incoming. This is the level that I was waxing poetic that we could reject at, just owing to these 2 area troughs over here. The breakdown area was at 65. We originally found our footing at 65. I could take it out here, but I'm just too stubborn, so I'm just going to hold on to it. Adam likes what he's seeing right there. Camera for a camera. LOL. Shout out to the main man, Adam DeLuce. We miss you around here, brother. Very, very happy to have met you, to have hung out. Arsenal did fantastic. What do you think about that, man? We went down 1-0 ski. come back 3 unanswered. Okay. I was kind of happy about that on the weekend. How'd you feel about the Leafs this weekend, bro?
You know what, Sharif?
Yes, sir.
My heart is still with the Leafs, but I cannot stand to watch them anymore. Until they get it done, I will not be watching too many games. I used to be a good, I used to be a good 60 game plus a season guy, but I've just had too much heartbreak. It's like keep running back to the old girlfriend over and over again, and they keep breaking your heart. So we don't want any of that.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back from Madeira, who's now sitting with Randy.
Hey.
Randy and I at the news desk here. Right now, we have the S&P 500 pushing near low of day, down about 0.5% right now, seeing quite a few comments in different areas of the world. Apparently, we have an intensifying Hurricane Milton here, so some more intensity coming for Florida's second hurricane in the last few weeks here. Of course, Hurricane Helene was the first one. We also have comments coming out of the Middle East. Apparently, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, intercepting, quote, a barrage of rockets from Hamas and a missile from Yemen. We also have apparently Prime Minister Netanyahu vowing continued military operations. We also have comments from President Joe Biden of the U.S. on the war as well. So just some updates here as we get a move lower on the S&P 500. Guys, you have 2 minutes left to vote for your ticker of choice to see if that ticker can be covered on the afternoon show. !, join, space, $, and your ticker of choice. Randy and I bringing you that news story here, guys.
I was talking to Randy last week about the Nautilus, man. Some of these Lincolns, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to see some of the new Links out.
Oh, no.
Dude, the entire screen from the side of the driver to the passenger, it's one contiguous screen.
Yeah.
And so like it's an everybody screen. You can see from the back, the passenger can see it. They can interact with it. Randy, it's touchscreen, right? You can see it from space.
You can see it from here. You can see it from here pretty much.
Fantastic look, yeah. And like, you know, we smack talk Ford all the time, and rightfully so, because they get to get their ducks in a row. But when you look at the division, Lincoln specifically, I'm liking what they're doing.
Yeah.
And Randy, some of those engines, like we're talking serious horsepower. A lot of it's not naturally aspirated. Fine. There's turbos in there, which is fine, because not everybody can be an NA beast, right? Anytime I hear talk from my serious car friends, it's always talk about NA, naturally aspirated. It's become like this word where anything that's not naturally aspirated is bad. You got
garbage.
a supercharger in your car? You animal, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
the twin turbs. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, that's the look there. I mean, like, that's what the situation is. So shout out to Randy. Guys, we're still holding a piece of Donald John Trump here, as it did reject 65 Ram, but it came into 55 and did find a little bit of support. So nice. I want to see if this one pops back up. I'm going to pack my patience. Rob Winters, turbo sucks. Sure, I don't like turbo lag. I'm like everybody else. I want that quick, response. You get that from superchargers. You also get that from these mild hybrid engines, which a lot of these cars are coming out with. So they got like this tiny little electric motor, not a plug-in hybrid, but it's actually recharged by the movement of the car. And it helps in those low RPM situations so you don't get that weak response time between that 0 to 1200 or whatever until the turbo kicks in. So I don't know how you feel about these mild hybrids, but anything that adds more power, I like. Maxi J, he wants that nitrous. He doesn't want to talk about mild hybrids, bro. He wants NO.
He wants the nitrous. Nos.
EPA rules for better EPA. Yeah, that's the situation we live in right now. Guys, we have too late to trade. Too late to vote. I was about to tell you guys that we had one more minute left.
That's it.
It is.
Votes are in, sealed and done deal. Day trader cut. Joe, swing straddles usually play out well right before CPI. If CPI was tomorrow morning, what strikes would you buy going into CPI for a straddle tomorrow? Hey, I like that question. You know what? I really like that question, because if you're looking to put on a straddle, usually try to go at the money, right? You want to be at the money. That way gamma's at its highest and the deltas are relatively the same, around 50 or so, something like that. So don't get my numbers exact. But if you're looking to play a straddle on the CPI prints, that's not a bad look. The only thing is with that is that if the volatility isn't sustained before you close your contract, or there isn't a specific direction and it doesn't hold that direction, you can be caught holding two options. really directionally against each other where the volatility isn't enough for one to outweigh the pricing of the other, all right? So straddle, I like that. So the straddle's good. Also maybe look to put on like some out the money strangles as well too. That's kind of already biased towards the direction of the asset. So really good question because straddles, and I've been reading a little bit more up on straddles and when to play them. And you know what? Maybe I might do this, Sharif. I might wet my beak on some earnings straddles and see what they go with, right? Maybe we'll do them in a spread format where I can protect some downside to either one, or maybe not. We just buy out the straight out directionals. But I really like the straddle look. Those are really good. Great question, day trader cut.
Absolutely. I love all the car talk there in the chat, guys. I love it. You know, no great gas mileage on my Trax Turbo, only 30 miles per gallon. That's it? Dude, you should see how many miles per gallon I get on my car. It's like low teens, and that's on the highway. Hey, what, Randy? Gallons per mile. What am I? I'm getting like what? Like 15 max on the highway, 14.
F-type.
Yeah, it's
F-type.
V8 supercharged, man, 5 liters.
F-type. Oh, the big dog. He's coming heavy.
Yeah, bro.
Watch out. It's
a monster. All right, I took my last little bit there on Donald John Trump on 70s. So that's a 30 penny winner. Not bad, but I think I'm still negative on it. Let me just double check that. I bet you I am, marginally negative on it, but got out of some trouble with this trade. Good trade, but obviously still negative on the day, so nothing to really pat myself on the back about. But we're going to continue to look to see what else is moving. So VWAP, not really, I don't want to say it's not factoring in, but it doesn't seem to be acting as any area of discernible support and resistance, especially even on a closing basis. Let's see the 15. Maybe the 15 is sort of... Yeah, that I'm reaching here, to be honest with you. Certainly the best part about this trade today was the 19 top. I think that would have been the area where I could have built in and definitely taken a short. However, that would have been against my rules because I would have been shorting a small cap gapper style stock north of VWAP, and I probably would have done that. So I don't feel too bad about this one. But it's working its way back into that 70 penny area. Be on the lookout for 19 as resistance. If you're long on DJT like I was, definitely 19 is a level I'd be very worried about just based on the amount of touches we had in that 19 area. Nothing closing above that. So you can get the feeling that somebody of note was selling up a storm. SMCI right back into that high. So we were talking about SMCI possibly coming into that volume weighted average price at around 46 and change. That doesn't happen. It's looking to take out these highs over here. This was a candle of indecision right at 1, and the high there was 47.75. We are now at 65, 10 pennies away from taking out that local highs, knowing full well, though, that it was really that 48 and a quarter that was really, not even 48 and a quarter. It was more like 48. We got above it, but 48 is definitely the level of note here on SMCI. If you want to really peg a whole dollar level, that's where I'd be looking. We got above there, obviously, on the day, but not for all that long. Let's quickly look at MYTE. It's still continuing to put in higher highs and higher lows in respect to 10 exponential moving average on the 5, but it's still yet to take out that $7 level. Exactly $6.99 is the high of the day. But this, it's obviously reeling with whatever resistance we have here at 680, 675, owing to that not even the IB high, bro. That printed at 910. That was in the pre-market, excuse me. So that's what I'm looking at there. What else we got? Yeah, nothing doing on those. The 130 level, though, okay, that's come and gone. Nvidia. Nvidia's rocketing up. It's up 4 1/4. Here it is, 130.29. This thing's been a dang rocket ship. People buying this thing hand over fist in anticipation of, I guess, all the speeches we're going to get tomorrow. They did start that event today. I'm talking about the Nvidia AI event, but my understanding is it's a workshop-only day today. There's really no speakers to talk about. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have more for you, but not like Nvidia needed a catalyst today. No. It was already going. So speakers or the lack of speakers didn't make a difference today for Nvidia. Just to finalize some thoughts here before we throw it back to Joe. Wow, this is a sell program here on Google.
Absolutely.
This is disgusting here on Google. It could not even take the 10 exponential on any closing basis I just want to show this since 1040. So the better part of 2 hours, and every pop into GOOGL has sold off. I don't want to say it's the worst performing. It's not even close. There is the likes of Tesla and Amazon that are much or underperforming Google, but definitely Google having, I would say, the most directional day. Meta and Google are having quite a directional day.
Communications, man. XLC, man. Absolutely.
Good call on that. I didn't even think about the XLC call.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep my eye on that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's great. Always good to look at the sectors and see why we're doing what we're doing and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a great look on Shreet's behalf. Hey, so Mateo C. I don't know if that's Mateo in the back, but we'll answer his question. Joseph, how often does the delta respected once it expires? For example, 0.2 delta, do you really get on an average 80% of the time the option expiring out of the money? So I think he's just asking, is it really like, is it in conjunction, is it always going to be 80% of the time? Unfortunately, that's not the case. Like if it was 80 or 90% of the time, depending on the delta selection, then the game would be a lot easier. And unfortunately, it's not. But it is used as a metric, kind of like a rule of thumb. A general idea is, hey, when you combine the deltas with the current location of the stock and where the price is actually trading, you can use that to gauge, hey, that makes sense. By X amount of days or whatever your expiry is, that this asset will not expire in the money. So you have to gauge from current price to the delta as well. So that's a really good question. Unfortunately, not everything is 100%, even though it says 80%. It's just used as a metric, right? Like even when I write my spreads, and we were just talking about Google, I set my orders out on the weekend and I got filled for a bull put spread on Google. So it's absolutely breaking my heart. So we'll see what happens with that one. If we get stopped out of the position, then that's absolutely fine. We're not going to worry about that because that's exactly what we do. We always put our stops on our positions, and we'll continue to do so. So there's not much time left, guys. If you have a question for Sharif and I, hopefully, Mateo, that answered your question. Other than that, man, it's been an action-packed. Time flies. Time flies. It absolutely flies. So, yeah, AMD looking to break a new high a day. Nvidia up 4.5% on the day, and what we don't really know, it doesn't need anything, and we say this time after time on the show. This thing does not need anything to catch a flame. It could be a technical breakout. It could be a whisper of something going on with the Blackwell or anything. It doesn't need much. So last question of the day, Aussie Flights, do you consider the IV an open interest before getting into a contract? Implied volatility, absolutely. I don't want to be selling premiums when the implied volatility is low. Open interest isn't one of my biggest factors because I'm using a delta strike and correlating that with support and resistance zones. So great question, Odyssey Flights.
Absolutely, and I want to leave you guys with this, man, because SMCI just got a great little bid there. Here we go. We're like less than 10 pennies away from the high of the day. We took out that 47.75 like it didn't even matter. We took out 48 like it didn't even matter, but we're still a little bit south of that 48.49, technically the high of the day that we put in at 11.40, but you know, this is quite close to it right now. This candle's high is 48.39. We know the high is 48.49. Here we go again, looking to take this level out. Good look for SMCI. Good look for the chips today, guys. Have big movers on the chips. I'm looking at my side chart over here. There's not too many chips that are negative on the day. Intel barely negative. 0.18 for Intel, so essentially flat. ASML, I guess the worst performing of the bunch. That is that big Dutch company that makes the ultraviolet lithography machines. They're down 1 1/3 today. AMAT and QCOM as well are negative, but the majority of the chips are positive, guys. So I'd be looking to those going to the afternoon, Joe. It is 2 o'clock. Any final thoughts before we send it to the Big Kahunas?
No, great session, man. As always, great stuff talking with you guys. Great option questions. We loved it.
All right, Joe and I will be back tomorrow. Be same bat time, same bat channel. Get it, Big Kahunas.
Oh boy. No. Yo.